Welcome everybody to episode 19 of the ADS podcast, the Aim Down Sights podcast. I've got the lovely I Got Soul, also known as Soul and the Assassin, with me this week. Apologies from Nero. He is not here this week, but he should be back next week. But I've got two amazing guests holding down the fort. I also just really want to apologize. I'm going to mute myself a lot throughout the show. I've been unwell, so I've got a nasty cough. But I just want to kind of run over to my two amazing guests this week and just find out what everyone's been playing, what everyone has been up to. So I'm going to start with Soul. How have you been and what have you been up to?
Hey. It is good to be back. Thank you for having me again. It is a wonderful day down here in hell, which is known as the DFW area, Dallas Fort Worth.
I'm going to say up there because I'm in the southern hemisphere.
Oh, okay. Well, look here. Look, all I'm going to say is it's hot. It is hot, triple digit weather, but all is well. I cannot complain. Everything is good in the neighborhood. Just celebrated actually on the 25th, my 50th. So, I'm trying my best to keep this glowing skin here and this youthful vigor going in my in my old age. I'm happily sporting my ARP card now. I don't know if you know what that is over there in your neck of the woods, but everyone here in the States has an idea of what ARP is. When you hit 50, you get these nice benefits. I probably can go into McDonald's and get a nice cup of coffee for like, I don't know, maybe $1 or something now. I have no idea, but everything is good in this neck of the woods. And I'm just saying, thanks for having me out again.
Thank you so much for being here. Have you been playing anything though? Like actually anything?
Yeah, actually I have here. And what I'm stuck on right now? I I am still grinding Diablo 4.
Oh,
And I know that the season is about to end. And I kind of lallygagged throughout the season, playing around the Hell Tides. I'm one of those that, I like to jump on with my people. And so I spent most of the season just kind of fiddle faddling, right? Not really, no purpose. I wasn't really trying to collect the sparks. And then they're like, hey man, no. You need to collect the sparks. That way you can get your Uber and all of this. So I create enough characters to get the Ubers to craft one. So I crafted a Shaco. When I'm happy about it, and it's got the build popping and everything. I run a rogue. I'm running that Heartseeker build. Yeah, I'm one of those, but hey, it's efficient. I'm loving it, right? Yeah, I'm loving it right now. I'm trying to in the next couple of days get everything masterwork to 12, and that's the part that I was lollygagging on, right? I didn't have any focus playing D4. It was just like, hey, I'm just playing to play. And now I'm kind of into it, Pit 91. And I know for, the sweaties, Pit 91 is nothing, but it's pretty efficient where I can get,
it's
at least
higher
50
than me.
Well, I can get 50 of the mats, right? And so then I can take my mats and then I can start masterworking. So I'm really excited about that, trying to get everything together so I can get it in my stash before the season ends. So I'll be good to go because I know that, and I know we're going to get to a topic, so I don't want to get too far into D4. But I like the direction that they're going for the season, which is going to be a short season, but then getting into Spiritborn. And like I said, I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And to let you know how much I've really been enjoying D4 this season, it actually took me away from Dragon's Dogma. So
that's my game of the year point. Dragon's Dogma is my game of the year at this point.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And because the AI, which can get a little wonky at times, is pretty darn good, right? And so when you get the other characters, and you get the right build for them, you can really do some damage. So, that's saying a lot that D4
Magic Archer all the way. Magic Archer all the way.
I was just getting into the Magic Archer when I said, let me slide to the side
it's
because
so
I
OP.
was yeah. But
it's
I
why
was
it's one of the last classes they allow you to unlock because everyone knows that you just mainline Magic Archer the whole way.
And there you go. And so I just got to that part where I had just upgraded. So I'm excited about going back. But here's the thing: I don't know where I'm going to find the time because when you look at everything, and I'm mainly right now an Xbox player. And truth be told, my PS5 was sitting and collecting a lot of dust, and I'm
Mm.
trying to console war, shade, anything like that. It was collecting a lot of dust. So I did the unthinkable, and I sold it. But it's in home now, and because it
Well,
was
I
just
mean,
sitting
you're honest.
there. Yeah, I'm being honest, and it was I had picked up a lot of the older games that I didn't play from the 4 generation because I skipped 4, right? So I
Mm.
picked those up, started playing through them, and then I started collecting dust because there were just so many drops that were coming through Game Pass. So I've just been doing a lot of Game Passing, and so I'm excited about this fall, not just for Game Pass, but for
As long
Game
as you're
Pass
not
in general.
passing on games and you're actually playing games in Game
No, I am. I am. That's the thing. I'm
I'm
playing a
passing on
lot
some
of games. Like I bounce around constantly between games. You're talking
quick
about,
resume for that win, right?
oh, when I tell you that is the best thing ever because I jump right back into Vampire Survivors.
Oh, I love that
Dragon's
game.
Dogma, like I say here. Back in between that, I started Flintlock, but I literally started it, watched the opening scene, and then I turned it off.
And then switched
Nothing
over.
wrong with the game. It's just so much. The what's his name? Henry Halibut. So I'm a grazer.
Oh
I
yes, that one,
start.
Henry. I've started that. I'm
Yeah,
partway
yeah,
through. I need
yeah.
to finish that. I'm a grazer
Right.
too, and I'll be like, I'll go back when I've got nothing else to play.
And so, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm gonna do when it comes to the fall because there's so many games that are going to be available to play. And actually, we'll probably talk about this as well. And I'll let you get to Assassin here. Like Avowed, Avowed got pushed back, and I'm glad that it did. And I'm
I
glad
know.
that they
We're gonna
said,
talk
"Hey,
about
we're
that.
pushing it
Yeah,
back because we have too many games." When was the last time anyone said we're pushing something back because we have too many games? So
yeah.
I love it.
I
So
love it
well,
too.
since they're going to do that, polish it up, you know, and we'll have something nice, hopefully in the first quarter, along with South of Midnight next year, 2025. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh my
excited.
gosh, next year's insane. Um,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Soul. We have also the outstanding and amazing Assassin, who I was lucky enough to do a podcast with him in the past on the Gamers Initiative show, and I'm glad you're here guesting this week with us. How have you been, and what have you been up to? What games have you been playing, Assassin?
It's good to be here. Good to finally make my debut here on the Aim Down Sites podcast. And Panda, I just want to say before I get to it, thank you for giving me such a better intro than Red Wolf Renegade has ever done on our show. I guess
You
what?
should
I'm
clip
calling you
that
out
and
here.
remind him.
Oh
Yep.
God.
Clip it,
Well,
baby.
Clip it.
I can attest to what Soul said earlier. The weather has been here good in San Antonio, not that far from you, Soul. So
Hey.
I can
We're
Okay.
attest
practically
that
neighbors.
that that 100-degree weather, it sucks because I deliver the mail, and God, that those mail trucks, they
Oh.
add 20 degrees. So I was in 130-degree weather today. But
Yeah,
Ooh,
we're here
nah.
to
my
talk about
man.
games,
Wow.
and you
Mm.
asked what I was playing. I've been playing Persona 3 Reload. It's a
Oh,
good, fantastic JRPG that dropped earlier on Game Pass earlier this year. I've
I've
put
started
about
that.
158 hours into that game. I'm on my third playthrough. It's just the
Damn.
combat and story is so goddamn addicting. I can't play anything else. I tried. I
See,
did stop briefly for the whole Gears of War trilogy back in May. I played all 5 campaigns. Believe it or not, I completed all 5. Other than that, I've been playing
Wow.
an
so you
add
ignored the weird, sad one that no one really plays, Judgment?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not
I
weird.
ignored Judgment.
I ignore Judgment too. No judgment on Judgment, but I'm judging you.
Yeah, well, my focus was we thought that Gear 6 was going to be showing off at the showcase. So I was like, okay, Holly, that blue number, shout out to her. She was like, "Oh, you got to make sure you play all the campaigns so that way you're not spoiled when it shows up." And then Microsoft just decided to say, "Hey, we're not doing that or a remaster. We're going to give you a prequel." So I was like, "What the I just played through all 5 fantastic games and you're going to reward me with a prequel? Fuck yeah. Thank you."
Yeah,
We get to
I
actually
mean,
see Emergence Day. Fuck
I
yes.
think that's something I've been the most excited about around that announcement is because like I wanted it to go back to gritty original Gears, and just knowing what Emergence Day is going to be like with the massive set pieces and the buildings falling, and like it should be just one of those moments where you're just like, I'm going to take ages on this game, and it should be quite cool just seeing some of the original bad guys coming back, like the original enemies that you were like, oh shit, if they showed up. It's just,
Do we get Ram in this one?
I have no idea.
I
Fingers
don't think so.
crossed that maybe
Well, he
there's
was
a
a
reference.
general. Like, he was a general in the first game, right? So maybe he's like, maybe a callback to maybe he was a lieutenant or something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid,
Maybe.
but hey, it's possible.
Maybe.
Anything at this point.
I'll say this. I'd have to think back when Gears came out. He was one of those, bosses that I actually kind of feared.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He was just intimidating. His whole persona and everything that had going on within the game, he was just like intimidating. So that was one of my, favorites in the whole series, because he just kind of had that whole gravitas, you know what I mean?
The whole boss fight itself, like on that narrow train track piece,
exactly.
like you felt very claustrophobic in that because you didn't have anywhere to run, and he's just coming at you. Oh, it's so good.
but you know what? But that's I'm glad that they did it like that and then kind of open it up, because it made you stand toe to toe with him, and that was a really good thing, So I'm hoping they bring some of that back. I'm just excited for that one, and the atmosphere. It seems like they might give us a little bit more of a horror game that some people have been asking for, or kind of get back to its roots in horror. You know what I mean? And
what's around the next corner type thing? Are you going to survive the next encounter? And it didn't feel like you got that with the new Gears. Yeah.
No, and because they kind of open it up, and I loved it. I loved it because I like open world games, right? But it didn't have that whole, what's around the corner. Am I going to get popped when I go around the corner? Am I going to be overwhelmed when I go around the corner? That type. It didn't have that kind of feel. So what I was going to ask you here before you made that statement, do we know if we're going to get like destructible environments,
I would assume so, because they're using UE5, and so so they've got nanite in that engine. So I would assume that we will probably get something like that. Most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we cut you off. Say what else were you going to say?
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
The show about Gears.
No.
You mentioned Gears, and that's a hot topic, baby.
And it was just done. We're like, we're going down that.
No. You guys are good. Like this year was the year for me to get into all the Gears of War games, and I'm so glad I did. It's now one of my top 10 favorite franchises of all time. That I just love that story and that world. I want to see what it was like when the Locust invaded. But getting back to what you asked before, aside from Persona 3 Reload, I'd also been playing Rainbow Six Siege. It's basically like a second religion to me. I have over 1,500 hours on both Xbox and PlayStation. Yeah, it's crazy. I just, there has not been a first-person shooter that has gravitated towards me more than that game. I can't get away from it even if I tried. Believe me, I have tried. With Call of Duty, I've tried with Fortnite, I've tried Apex, nothing works. It's only that. But
Really?
other than that, yeah, I've just been playing Siege and Persona 3 Reload. Now let's get back to the Gears of War stuff. One thing I wanted to ask you guys about that. We know, Soul, you kind of hinted at it, they're kind of leaning towards more of a horror focus base, which is what some of the fan base has been asking for a while. Now, this just may be the Resident Evil fan within me.
Okay.
But do you think it's a possibility we could get some type of open area? And I know some Gears fans don't like that, but hear me out. What if they took what they did with Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 and did that with a Berserker?
No. Berserkers, I fucking hate them so much.
I mean, like just one mega Berserker just constantly rushing at you, sometimes out of nowhere.
Stalked you through the map.
So I saw the look you gave, Soul. You know what I'm talking about here.
I do.
It'd be so good.
But that, I think, are the kind of game mechanics that they need to bring to this game. That sense of fear, that sense of, I gotta be on my SHIT, because if not, I mean, so I think that would be a dope thing if they would bring that in, man. And I know a lot of people don't like that open aspect, but I think they can merge the two. And I'm thinking they probably will. I'm hoping, let me say that, because I haven't read or seen anything, that they merge the two, because I think that will kind of satiate those who love third person. Well, excuse me, not the third, but the open and the more narrow, more kind of linear, you know, uh, uh, um, gaming aspect. And I like a little bit of both, and I'm hoping we get both of those. I think you might be on to something, man. You need to,
I'm
let them
excited.
know. Let them know.
When I've
The
played through
coalition you'd be
Gears
hearing.
1 through 3 like quite a few times, and every time I get to the bit where I know there's a berserker, I'm like, this is my least favorite part of the game. Because it's just so intense. Like, you muck up and you're dead. And so it's just really intense. I think we're going to get close quarter. I think they will lean into that gritty horror side of it, because it is humans, or these people being introduced to these enemies for the first
Hmm.
time. So there will be that horror element of how they react to what is going to happen with E-Day. And there's going to be a lot of, like, I don't know what it is, but like just thinking about a prequel like in Halo, with Halo Reach, and sort of the impact that that had, knowing that that led into when you first played the first game. And so I feel like it's a really smart move going there, because then there are a lot of stories that could be told in relation to E-Day, because that war that happens and spans over before you even meet them in Gears of War 1, what, like 10 years or something before you meet them, and
Hmm.
like how he gets into jail, like the fact that you see him in prison, and then he's released, and then you go off and fight.
And you go
So
off. Right, right.
there's so much there, and there's so much lore there, I think, that they can really take on. Like, I really want to see when they get rid of the original Lancer and they move over to the chainsaw. Like, I want to see how that
Mm.
happens, because like in the trailer you've got the Lancer with the oh my god, why can't I think of what it is? The blade on the front. I can't even think of
Like
what
the
it's called.
The
bayonet.
bayonet.
Yeah.
Bayonet, there you go. Yeah, he's got the bayonet on the sword, and so no one liked using those because the clips were smaller, and everyone was like, every time you picked up one of those, you're like, no, go find me another one. Like
Right.
so I think there's so much that can happen there, and if you're a fan of the original, um, you really want to see what they're going to do with this. And I have high hopes, so many hopes for what they could do, because there's so much they could do, knowing that the engine that they could deliver it on is just going to really
Mhm.
magnify the possibilities available for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, the possibilities are endless. I was looking at the chat here. RSJ fan. So tell me, if you can, in the chat, and maybe I missed it. I'm trying not to look down too much. What is it about the horror genre? Not going full horror, not right, but what is it about the horror genre that you don't like, or you don't want to? Why don't you want to see that in Gears? Because I think that just adds an extra, a layer of storytelling. And to be honest, I hope they give us a little bit of it. And it doesn't have to be full on horror, but since you were talking about Panda here, how they can really open up the universe, I think Halo could do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think if they gave us like a horror game, but maybe, and this is where people will have problems with it, probably, I think you could have a successful horror game in both of those universes, but it
Mm.
has to be an unknown character. Like, how the Quiet, was it called, A Quiet Place, the movie,
Yeah.
like the one that's coming out or it just came out or whatever, kind of going back to the roots. If they gave us something like that, and you're just an everyday average person who's just trying to fight to survive, you're really scavenging, trying to pick up any, it's almost like a survival mode, the whole thing. I think if they kind of ran with that, I think a lot of people would like that, because I know there's a lot of people right now who still play Division just for survival mode,
Yeah.
because it's a really awesome mode. My people, they play it constantly, when they are not on, let's say, D4. And, well, I shouldn't say constantly, but they like to pick it up when they're not on D4, or they're not now on NCAA 25, right? They still go
Mm.
back, they still make survival runs, they really love it. And I just think that, like Gears and Halo are franchises that are ripe for a horror story. But the thing is, I think it would be really successful if they take it out of the hands of Master Chief, take it out of the hands of Marcus, or whoever else they might want to implement into it. Or maybe it is one of these other soldiers that we do know about from ODST, or, that's been running around with Marcus, and maybe they, had to, it's how maybe they got to, where they are as we know them. They had to escape, and that's how maybe they enlisted. I don't know the
Story
lore
that
of Gears
ended up,
like that.
joining the
Yeah.
rest of the group and then
So I don't
playing
want
on
to, I don't want to
the
make, yeah, but it would be, I think it would be really cool. I would like to play something like that, because now I can get in there and take the role of that character, and then I'm really fighting for my life. Give me a little bit of that alien isolation feel. I
And
think I think that
yes,
would I think that'd be pretty dope. So I
and we're
don't
gonna
know.
get
What
a
do you
we're
guys
gonna get
think?
a hell of a lot of emergence holes and like having to blow those up in this game. Like you can just imagine everywhere. I'm just it's gonna be entertaining. Like I'm trying to think of like one of the scenes where you're like literally seeing maybe the ground fall beneath you, like in the trailer, like the building just collapsing in on itself, and he's like about to fall off the side, and then Dom catches him. And I'm like, we're gonna get a lot of, I think, that style of things as well, because they're in like the zone where it's probably the worst affected, because they went after those big like metropolitan areas when they did come out in E-Day. So it's quite interesting, like to see they're in amongst it, and I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. It's just going to be entertaining as hell. And I think my fix until Gears E-Day comes out is going to be oh my god, why can't I think of it? The Marine guys. Why can I think of their name?
Oh, Warhammer.
Warhammer. Yes, I can't think of their name.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? When I think of Warhammer, I think of Superman. What is it? Henry Cavill? Is
Oh
that his
yeah.
name? Yeah, because
Yes.
he's into that, or did he voice it or something like that?
He's into
So
it. I think
okay.
he's working with them to bring something
He's
to
making a
that.
show with Amazon about
Yeah,
Warhammer.
Ah,
about
He's a big
Warhammer.
there
fan
you
of
go.
Warhammer, just like he was with The Witcher.
Yeah,
Okay, good
yeah.
deal. And I like
Um,
that. So yeah.
okay, well, I'm just going to take a quick shout out to the whole chat, everybody. Hello, welcome, thank you. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. Hit that like button just to say thank you to Soul and Assassin showing up this week. I can see Nero is saying hi in the chat. Sorry you couldn't join us, but we've got two great people holding down the fort till you get here. We're going to get into some topics. We're going to get into some lovely topics. Our first topic, I maybe could swap this around and maybe we could just start with it actually. Playground Games, they actually have a third game studio. So previously they were two. We know one works on Forza Horizon, and then the other one split off to work on the Fable series, and now they've got a third one. So they're continuing to grow. What are your thoughts on this, Assassin, if you want to lead us off on this? Are you thinking this is going to be a support studio or a complete studio that is just going to do their own new IP? How do you think they're going to leverage a new team coming in at Playground Games? Yeah.
Well, with Playground, I don't think they really need a separate support studio. They already have Idols Montreal working on Fable. Playground has shown that they are capable of doing Forza Horizon on their own. In my opinion, I think they may be working on a new IP, or conspiracy theory assassin here. Maybe they're building a team to make Banjo on the Forza Tech engine. Hey, get it?
It's a theory.
All right, I'll leave that be. I'll leave that be.
Okay. Wait a minute. I muted my mic. I had to turn my mic back on for that one. You know what? Maybe that's what they're doing. Who knows? But I tell you what, I think we're going to be happy with whatever they put out.
I think
Amen
About
to
so.
that?
that. Whatever they work on, it's so they've done Forza Horizon 1 through 5, obviously. They
Right.
are masters at the Forza Tech engine. We've seen what they are doing with Fable, not once, but twice. Dear God, that game looks beautiful. I can't wait to play it. That's probably
Mm,
my most anticipated game for 2025, other than
yeah.
GTA 6 until it gets delayed. But other than that, Playground Games. See, the thing is, they built the second studio in Leamington Spa in 2017, 7 years ago.
Yep.
And if one is working on Forza Horizon, the other one is working on Fable, it would make sense that this third studio would be. Maybe they're supporting them for Fable for now, but maybe later on they will work on something new, whether it's a new IP or maybe something that they want to pull out of the gravestones, the cemetery that Microsoft refuses to acknowledge.
Hmm.
Jeez, they have
You
such a
you
huge
you you're
graveyard.
leaning into something. You're leaning into it. You're leaning in. You're leaning in.
I am.
Lean
Now,
in, lean in.
it would be funny though if a few years from now we find out they're working on something like Fusion Frenzy. I'm like, huh?
Hmm.
All right, that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, conspiracy theory. They're working on. I think if they're doing a third studio, I think they're working on something that Microsoft has in the vault. I don't know what's telling me that, but that's what I think.
You know, I'm hoping with these studios that are opening up, Playground, the Activision Blizzard studios. I know we're going to get into that a little bit as well. Um, these agile studios, with these double A smaller titles or whatnot. I hope that they just continue to feed us goodness inside of this service. The service is expanding clearly, right?
Mm.
500 million
Active
active
users.
users, right? Or whatever. So it's expanding. It's starting to really become that whole Netflix of gaming deal, right? You have to have something for everyone. Everyone doesn't love first person shooters. Everyone doesn't love third person shooters. Everyone doesn't love first person games or third person games. Some people just like 2D beat 'em up, side scrollers. We I'm hoping that Microsoft and Xbox continue to expand the portfolio of games.
Mm.
They can go back, like you say, Assassin, to some of these games that we love that is just kind of sitting there, and bring those back so we can reminisce, but then also introduce them into this new generation who have no idea. And I was going to kind of save this for later, but I actually think what they're going to be doing with some of these support studios, yeah, they're going to support and they're going to do their own thing with these AAA titles. But I think you're going to see where the Blizzard, excuse me, the king side of the acquisition is coming into play with some of these smaller moves that they're doing.
Yeah.
The games that can transition very well to playing on your through your Fire Stick, to the proposed handheld, which I
Mm.
hope they are creating. I really hope that they're doing that, and I think they're gonna. That's where they're gonna be shooting for a lot of these games to come out and play very well there. So you can take it on the go. Looks great on the screen. You can pop it up. It's good to go. They're not gonna leave AAA players hanging. They have so much in the stable right now, but I think they're just gonna take their time and make sure that we have a good experience for these smaller games as well. Those games that kind of just cleanse your palate when you're going from your Rainbow Six Siege to your Dragon's Dogma to your D4s to your Indiana Jones to your Avowed, the stuff that you want to play in between and give you something that you say, you know what, this was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I think they need more of, like, what was it? As Dust Falls. Is that was that the game? That
Yeah.
was that
Yes, yes,
man, loved that game. I just
my
put it
game
in just
here.
because, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is really good." And so I'm hoping they give us more variety. I want more of the Vampire Survivors. I want all the Oris, the double A games, the Hollow Knights. Give us more of that as well. And I think that's
Oh well,
probably where they're gonna go. Yeah, the Pal Worlds, right?
Yeah, the
They're
Power
gonna
World. Yeah.
go. They're gonna go in that direction and give us a lot of different flavors. Over here, Panda, we have 31 flavors. You guys have that down there? Okay,
31
so
flavors of what?
oh, well,
No, no, we're
uh,
a small country. We try and limit our
no,
flavor.
well, 31 flavors. It's Baskin Robbins. It's
No,
a ice,
no.
yeah, ice cream. So yeah, it's 31 flavors, and so I'm hoping that they just continue to give us a lot of different flavors because we have so many people with these different appetites for gaming, and I know, like I said earlier, before we jumped on, that I'm a grazer, so I like to play a little bit of everything, and I'm hoping that they give us those great in between experiences. So I'm
It's just
hoping they run with what Assassin says, but then they also add that in.
Sweet. Thank you. Assassin, there's just a little bit of feedback coming through on your end. I'm not sure what's happening there, but that's okay. I also am super, like, you're talking about the handheld. I'm like, Octopath Traveler, which is going to be like a game that you spend hundreds of hours in if you want to play it like that. It's one where I would love to take that on the go on a handheld. Even like Persona 3 Reload, I started that, but I'm like, this is going to be a game that I want to take on the go with me because it's going to be such an investment of time. And like when I go into the office, I have like an hour and a half commute there and back again, and that's like the perfect thing of having a handheld. So I don't have to stream and I don't have to rely on Wi-Fi or anything like that. I just would like a dedicated ability to play these games like that. So yeah, I'm excited. Everyone, if you don't know, I'm a massive Playground Games fan, mainly because I obsessed with Forza Horizon and obsessed with Fable. Like Fable was like the reason I play Xbox, and it was the first game that I got obsessed with on the OG Xbox. And so I think them doing a third team, fantastic. They've shown time and time again that they can utilize that Forza engine to crazy lengths. Like just the density of the foliage in Forza Horizon 5, and you're like, and then you've seen what we've seen of Fable on the Forza Tech engine, and it just looks fantastic. And so I'm super excited. I do think that they're probably taking a little bit of some people from those two teams and putting them in there to build a bit of a foundation. They're going to backfill and put more people into the third team. But I also think that they might, like to Assassin's point, maybe have them work on and support some of those studios to build talent, to build experience with the Forza Tech engine before they get them off working on their own IP. And I do think it's probably going to be an IP that is currently on ice and bring something back from the past. I don't necessarily think they're going to work on a new IP. They may do, but I really don't necessarily think so. But I have so much hope and faith in Playground Games. They're one of the best studios that Microsoft has, in my opinion, and they just make it look easy. It's just... that's my game of the year. Hopefully next year is Fable. Fable it will be my game of the year.
Well, you know, go ahead, Assassin.
No, I was just agreeing. Like I said before, Fable's my most anticipated game for next year.
Yeah.
In 2025. Like I cannot wait.
You know, I have a little. You know, it's funny because I've played a lot of different games for a very long time, and I've never played Fable.
Get out. No, I'm kidding.
I kid you not.
That's
but
okay.
let me tell you something. And the thing that's so wild about it is that it's right up my alley. It is the type of game that I like to play. Don't know why I've never picked it up and played it. And I downloaded it not too long ago, and I looked. And I'm like, okay, I'll wait because you know it's starting to look a little dated and everything. Okay, cool. But I am super excited about this one though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm typically not a I hate to use this word here. I'm usually not a graphics whore. But that game and the actual gameplay looks so impressive.
Yes.
And I like the fact that the protagonist that we see, we're assuming she's the protagonist. I am one of the people who absolutely love how she looks. She
looks
looks like
exactly like
any
the
average person. She looks like the lady it's modeled after. Yeah, they changed it a little bit, but it looks like her, you know? And so I love the fact that it looks like anyone else who might be caught up in something, not someone who's all dialed up and all this. No, that's not realistic. And when you look at those folks that we like to see on TV and they look great under the lights and in the movies, you get them outside of that makeup. A lot of those folks, they have nice features. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
They have nice features and they look great made up. That is it. And so I understand people want to live in the fantasy world, right? But I love the fact that it looks like any common person who's caught up in this wild adventure. And it looks like this is going to have some really good gameplay mechanics. I'm just interested to see where they go and what um, kind of, is it based on fairy tales or is it
Uh,
based
they're
on myth,
leaning into it.
legend?
They're leaning into the
Okay,
retail side of it a bit more.
okay,
Like the original Fable wasn't quite like that. It was sort of
okay,
telling a fable and a story. Like they had like a fable or story that they were telling you,
okay,
um, and they had a little bit of some fantastical stuff in it. But I
okay.
think the biggest thing that was going for Fable was the morality system of you being good or
Mm,
evil,
okay,
and just the comedy in it, and the fact that you could just basically go on a rampage and kill innocent people.
okay,
Like
okay,
Fable 1, after they did a remaster of it, I mean, mechanically wise, it hasn't aged well. Graphically wise, it is a massive improvement. Fable 2 hasn't aged well and probably does need a remaster. And Fable 3 is fine as it is at the moment.
okay.
But like, it just had so many funny aspects to it. Like, you could like get an STD if you choose not to sleep with
Really?
someone because you didn't use a condom.
Wow.
So it's like, do you want
No.
to have protected or unprotected sex?
Okay. Okay.
There was
Okay.
lots of funniness. Like one of my favorite achievements, and it's in Fable 3 is the Henry VIII achievement. And
Okay.
basically you get married like 5 times and kill 2 of your spouses.
Really? Okay.
And
Okay.
like if your partner in Fable 3, if your partner left you, like your kids went into an orphanage, so you had to go back and like get your kids back. It's just there's lots
Okay.
of funniness and quirkiness to it, and because it's a British studio making it, they will be bringing some of that forward into
Humor.
it, because that's
Okay.
the big thing that everyone loved about the original Fables is, yes, there was a serious undertone of a story and you could be good or evil, but it didn't take itself too seriously in the gameplay. Like there was
Okay.
so many funny elements around it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. See, so like I said, that is going to be a game that I fully dive into and, just kind of get immersed in. And, I want to I want to kick a chicken, you know.
Kick
I'm
a
trying to see
chicken. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to see what this kicking chicken is about. So,
Mm.
I am excited about that. I kind of hope that they drop a little gameplay here and there just to kind of, just to give us a little taste. Doesn't have to be much, just something new. Just give me
I
a little
know.
something new, and I'm good to go. So, I'm excited about this one.
I'm expecting that we'll probably see Fable maybe at the Dev Direct at the beginning of next year, and then we'll probably see it again in June. And I reckon it's probably going to be an end of the year release potentially. But I think
Mm,
we'll see quite a bit of it next year, in varying degrees. Yeah.
mm,
Mm.
okay.
Anything else you want to add to the third team that is part of Playground Games? Are we all Playground gamed out for now? Honestly, try
Yeah.
Fable. Try Fable.
We
Uh,
all had a good time at the playground. I'll say that.
Yeah.
exactly. But no,
You go
I
outside
really
and touch
am.
some grass.
Touch some grass, right? No, I'm really excited about this game, and the thing that's so crazy about it is like, how could you forget about Fable? There's so many games that are coming out and that are going to be first party from Microsoft. I almost forgot about it because it is pushback, not pushback. It is coming out in 2025, and so you just think about this: you're getting South of Midnight. That's one of the games that I'm really looking forward to. You're getting Avowed, which jumped a lot for me because they said you can play in third person.
Oh, yes.
I Now here's the thing.
Ah,
I play first person games. My one first person game that I like to play is Far Cry. And I do not but I'm not big on first person games. And I know, man, you're on Microsoft. Everything is in first person. That's the thing. Everything is, it feels like it's, in first person. Like I'm dying for a third person Halo game. I wish I could get the option like Starfield. Give me the
Mm.
option. That's all I want. I want to go back to playing Sea of Thieves. Give me a third person. I just want the option. Like I switched between in Starfield, I was jumping back and forth constantly.
I like shoot in first person, but I traverse everywhere in third person in Starfield.
So I was it was mainly third person shooting for me, but I will say this. How about this though? Because I'm a big Division fan, so I love the third person shooting, right? And also Ghost Recon. So, but there were times when it would get hot and heavy in some of those firefights, and I would switch to first person. I don't know, it was just something that connected, and it just seemed like but I really like third person, the viewpoint for me. I could never play another first person game and I'd be okay. I know most people. I'd be fine because I think I like to see the world, and I like to see the player, how they fill that space. And when you're looking through Master Chief's eyes, you get to see so much, but you don't get to see everything.
No, you're right.
Yeah, and so I like that. That's me. So, but hey, who am I? Just a consumer.
Well, I mean, talking about like what's coming up next year, like we actually got a date for a few different things. I mean, we got a new date for a game, but they didn't actually have Stalker 2 on there, which I was surprised in the announced games. I know it was only first party they were showing, but like it's replacing a first party. All right. I'm going to go into the topics anyway. So we got Diablo 4 Season of the Eternal Horde is coming August 6th. And I am super excited for this. This is a smaller season, knowing what's coming next with the Spiritborn, right? I'm saying that right?
Spiritborn, yeah.
The Spiritborn class. I just want my Crusader back. I miss my Crusader. I miss throwing my shield. Who knows what the next class will be after Spiritborn? But actually, Spiritborn looks quite fun.
It does.
I mean, you're a big D4 fan. Are you happy to see what's coming out with the new season that starts on August 6th there, Soul? And yeah, what are your thoughts?
So, like I said at the beginning, I am still knee deep in D4, running pits, trying to masterwork everything to 12 or get everything up as high as possible. Even though I know it's going over to the Eternal,
Yeah,
I'm excited, for this season, really because I think 4 gave us. They tightened up some things. They gave us some different gameplay mechanics that I think, for the most part,
the Helltides were on steroids.
Yeah, they were on steroids, and I think they worked for a lot of people.
Great.
There was I was watching a video, and I can't remember how old it was, but it's been going around. It was Rod, and I don't know if it was Fletcher, but somebody else was in there. They were, kind of talking about what's coming up with season 5 and then going into season 6 or Spiritborn or Vessel of Hatred, right? Mm-hmm. And so they started throwing out some numbers, and they were talking about how with season 2 or 3, something like that, where within the first 5 days, only like 38, it was a low number, maybe, 38, and I might be a little off. Chat, correct me. The point is, like 38% of the players weren't at 50%. And then with season 4, I think it was like 51% of the players were at, like, by day 5, they were at least level 50. So I may have left that out. I'm so sorry. They were like at level 50, right? And so, which is very surprising, is very telling, is that the people who make the most noise, I guess they're the sweaties with D4 or Diablo. But when it comes down to it, it's a very casual game.
Yes.
And because I am
easy to jump in and out.
You can jump in and out. And for me and my schedule, that works. I love Helltide this season 4 because you can get in, and before you know it, you're like level 30. You might be level 50, if you have a 3 hours or whatever it is. And you were able to, maximize that in between doing some of the stuff for the Iron Wolves or whatnot. So I like that they put that in, and it allowed people like me to enjoy the game.
the improvement, even with the just leveling up, so based on what world tier you in, the way they adjusted the additional XP you got
The
based on the
mind
tier.
cages. Yeah. Yeah.
That the mine cages were great, but they went from, I can't remember what they originally were, but they increased when you learn another world tier, they increased the amount of bonus XP you would get.
XP.
And
Mhm.
so people weren't grinding the way they were in the original like first two seasons. Specific or first three seasons. And like for me, I didn't actually get in the first season, I didn't actually get a level 100 character. I kind of was like grind it out. And so this time I found it very easy to get to level 100, and I started a second character and started
Mhm.
like bringing them up to level 100. But I might actually run them this. I might run that character instead in the new season. But yeah, I'm excited to just like around like the horde side of things and seeing
Mhm.
where that takes us, because
Yeah.
I think it's super important for them to keep making changes and to give a little bit of a season a flavor aspect to it. Like I love the increase of the drop rates for
Mhm.
treasure goblins, and they actually drop better gear. That was a really
Yes.
big important thing for me. And just it's always fun facing world bosses, because once you're at a certain level, world bosses like die in like less than 10
And
seconds.
and and so right. And so when you're a part of that, when you can do, because when the first time you go to experience the world boss and you're lower level, it's like, oh my gosh, you're
It's
just
gonna take
running and
ages.
running and running, and because
One
everybody's
shot
around the
dead.
same level. Right, everyone's the same level, and so everybody's just running around, scatterbrain, trying to figure it out, trying not to die, and it takes forever. And you're looking at the clock like, "Hey, we only have another minute before we can do this." And so I think it's great, but now they're going to actually, I think, buff that boss a little bit, make it a little bit harder. Once
I,
people do get to those higher levels where your gear is actually a lot better,
I,
I think they're going to
I
do that
think
for the bosses. I
I
think
think
that's a
they
good
need to
thing.
like add more mechanics, like in the sense
Mm,
of like in the way they did the Hell Tides, how like when you were doing it in the standard World Tier 1, I never do World Tier 1 because that's just too easy.
yeah,
But like what is available and the difficulty on that level compared to like every time you go up another World Tier, the Hell Tide gets more difficult. And I was like,
right,
it gets more intense. And I think world bosses should also add an extra layer, like a new move or something. So add a little bit more complexity to them because you've gone up a world tier, and so they're more deadly. And that's what I think
right.
they need to do with world tier bosses. But Assassin, we haven't heard from you. Are you a D4 fan? Are you excited for the new season, or are you going to wait till Spiritborn? What are your thoughts on this, Assassin?
For Diablo, I'm pretty much the most casual player for Diablo. I don't think I've touched it since last year.
Wow.
Mm.
Uh, there was
Jump
just
back
too
in, my
many
man.
games last year.
Yeah.
I definitely will. I'll definitely try. So you know how many games I have in my reserves. I'm playing Kunitsugami, Flintlock, trying to finish Persona 3,
Okay,
playing Siege with my squad. There's just so many games. Like
so
just
many
to add a
games.
fifth
I'm
one.
starting Assassin's Mirage next week. Like, I haven't even
Uh,
played that yet.
oh,
Oh,
yeah, that's
Assassin's Creed
right.
Mirage. I was
That's
like, what?
right. I
Wait,
mean,
I'm a
the
Mirage?
new, when is the new one dropping though? Shadows.
Oh,
Shadows is November 15th.
damn.
So just think, Shadows is dropping. And I know it's getting off topic, and I'm so sorry, but Shadows is dropping. I heard you guys say Mirage. Shadows is dropping. That's another one that I want to get into. And then you're also getting Outlaws. I'm a Star Wars junkie, so I got to
Oh,
play it, right?
yes, I'm gonna
And
play that.
for me, it looks great. So I'm an Ubisoft fan. I don't care what people say. I love the formula. It works for me, right? So I'm excited about
Agreed.
that. Just think about this fall. This fall is bananas.
I'm just excited for Indiana Jones, to be honest. I want a
And there
release
you go.
date. It's coming at Gamescom. They're gonna give us a release date at
They will.
Gamescom.
They
Like,
will.
and
Okay,
even like
wait. So
Starfield DLC. Oh.
And
Mm.
it's just too, like Assassin said, it's too much that, to try to juggle all these different games. But I'll tell you what, Assassin, man, let's connect after this, man. Make sure we do gamer tags or whatever. And when you want to run a little, D4 and you want to get in, man, we can grind
all
it
right.
out together, man. Or I'm not one of those guys who's going to carry you. And I was going to say, if there's anyone in the chat who would like to carry old soul here to these tormented bosses, because hey, I love to get a drop right before the season, Uber drop. Hey, put your gamer tag in the chat, and I will find you, or your battle net tag in the chat. I will find you, and let's grind out with the rest of the materials that I have here. But Assassin, same thing for you, man. Season 5 or even Spiritborn, let's get in, let's grind. I think it's going to be a good time with D4. I'm
Yeah.
really excited about it. I'm trying to get you excited about it, man. Try to get you excited.
All right.
You
Let's
just
do it.
need people to play with. That's
the
what it
Loot
is.
Reborn season was so fantastic for Diablo.
Yep.
The way they just changed it on its head, and it actually felt fun to like grind again.
Yeah.
And then once you get to level 100 and you're going after the pit, that was also fun, but it is a grind going for
But it's a
Masterwork and
grind.
going for Ubers. And I'm like, they still need to adjust that bit slightly. I feel like there's work in that end game part, but like up
Right.
until level 100, they've nailed that. I was
Yeah.
like,
Right.
yes, it feels fun and it doesn't feel like a marathon trying to get to level 100. It feels achievable and doable. The only thing that still doesn't sit well with me is the Paragon boards.
Well, they were
I
talking about. I saw some a talk of like an infinite board or something.
I would like I love the Paragon system and D3 around just that you could keep going as far as you wanted with
Okay.
that. And there was only one sort of metric that you could keep putting points into. Because I ended up at like Paragon 700 and something
Oh wow.
at that point. So but like if you're wanting to go after some very specific things, you really have to nail everything down and really plan out your Paragon boards. And I don't like for some of the people who are more casual and don't necessarily want to go into that heavy, minute detail. It is lost on some people. And so that's where people like go to guides and like, what do I want to do? And it's all about getting the right gear to build on that. And it's great, but there is it's just a little bit lost on me, like the fact that I can't keep earning Paragon points because there are some things where I'm like, I've just run out and there's this one thing that I needed. And so I now have to reset my boards and figure out how to get to exactly that. And that was the most annoying thing of the time and effort going into that and constantly reworking my Paragon board. I do think what they could do though is create save files for your Paragon board so you can go, okay, I want to change my class to this because this is the gear I'm wearing. So I want to save this board that I've got. So if I want to switch back to it, I don't have to re-put the points in and go, where did I put what? I can just reload up that Paragon board. I think that's a
Right.
really great idea because you can do that with gear. You can
Right.
apply multiple gear and you can save that gear slot, but they need to do that with the Paragon board system if they're going to keep the
Yes.
boards the way they have it.
Yeah, I mean that way, kind of like Division, you can just change on the fly, and
Yes.
you already got your gear set. It'll be set to the board, and you're ready to roll. That is
Yeah.
something that I hope that they institute,
Quality of
because it
life,
looks
yeah.
like they're listening to a lot of the feedback that they've been asking for, which is a really good thing. Well, a good thing. It takes time to make these changes and to make sure that you get all the bugs and everything out, and that it plays well. And that it's not literally breaking the game.
Yeah.
But I hope that is something that they do institute, because I think
Yeah.
it would be great. I'm always complaining about that, but at least they gave us what was the name of that damn thing this season? They gave us the little thing where you can reset your board, but it was free of charge.
It was like some scroll thing.
It's a little scroll looking icon type thing.
They
Yeah, I
gave you
can't think
one
of the
free
name
of
of it.
charge. I think I ended up with like 2 or 3 of those.
See,
at
I
some
have like
point.
6 of those things.
I just can't get rid of my mind cages. All those hearts. I have like about 500 hearts, and I'm like, you just keep picking them up in the mind cages. Just can't
Yeah.
get rid of them.
And you can't get rid of them. So, I'm still using them because I did notice a difference in if I'm not using them, even though I'm 100 and pretty much can just run around, of course, free will out there in Hell Tides. I did notice that when I'm using the mine cages, I'm getting better drops with 2 or possibly 3 greater affixes. And if I'm not, it's like usually just one affix only. And yeah. I noticed a little bit of difference in the drop rate for those. So, but I think they're definitely headed in the right direction. For a casual guy like myself. So I'm enjoying it.
It's easy to pick up and play. And for those of you who haven't really played it, you can play the seasons and choose to play the story option. I do recommend if you haven't played the story to play the story all the way through. The story is really good, and I can't wait to see where the story picks up next based on that teaser that we got with Mephisto and like,
Right. But
so
you know what?
there's more story.
And the story is really, really good. But also, these are some of the best cinematics I've ever seen.
Yeah.
When you get towards the end of the mainline story, there's a fight scene that some of the best cinematics I've ever seen. For those people who are never going to pick up D4 and never going to play, those who are in the chat,
Watch the cinematics.
just watch the cinematics. Watch the story cinematics. Unbelievable.
Like
Unbelievable.
the fact that like you go in and that original opening cinematic that they showed about Diablo 4 where they're summoning Lilith back into existence,
Right.
and the three guys on the pillars and the chanting that happens, and the fact that you can go and find that place in game.
In game.
Oh, I was like, chef's kiss moment.
Right. Right.
Oh,
I love it
It's
when
like,
the developers give us something that actually show in these little cuts and clips in
yes.
the game, because a lot of time they give us this stuff and it looks good and we're like, okay, I can't wait till this happens, or can't wait to find it, and then you never find it, or
Yeah.
it never happens, but it pulls you in to
Yeah.
and this, so they do their job with that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Assassin.
no, I was just gonna say, now that I'm gonna try and get into D4, now my main goal is to now find the place that you were talking about, Panda, and just go, huh? I feel like something terrible happened here. What do you
Yes, and
think?
you go there and you're like, oh my god, something really terrible happened.
That is all I want out of D4 now. That's all I want to do. Like, I don't care about the story. I just want to go there and I want to say those words. That's all I want.
Yeah, man.
It's
But
just
hey,
funny because
I definitely think you're gonna love it, the game when you get into it, man. And if you find a nice little core group of people, one or two people that you can run with, run Hell Tides, run pits.
I recommend
They're
running with
fixing.
people.
Yeah, they're fixing the pit system for those who are playing the game. Where if I put in the mats, the materials, then we all get the same amount with the drops. Right now, if I put
Yeah.
the mats in, I get the lion's share. I get
Yeah.
the let's say if I at 91, you get like 50, right? So if I'm running with Panda and I drop the mats, I'll get the 50. She might get 20. That's a big discrepancy, but you're still putting in the same amount of work,
Amount of effort.
hopefully. But even if you're not,
Especially
you're
if
still in
I
there.
like don't die and then you die, I'm like, why did you get all the
Yeah.
gear? Why
Yeah,
is this happening?
because getting CC'd is still is still a thing.
I do
And yeah,
not. I do not play. I do not play hard mode because I played hard mode in D3 a lot, and it crushes your soul every time your character dies, and all your gear's just like poof,
gone.
gone. All the
Yep.
grinding you did, everything you're like, just gone.
Well,
So disappointing.
speaking of gear and grinding, so in the Vessel of Hatred, they are actually going to allow for you to bring your eternal player into the season. You can play from 1 to whatever. So if it's a level 100, so the characters
Yes.
you're working on right now, you can actually bring them over into Vessel of Hatred, not season 5, but
But
Vessel of
into
Hatred. So
yeah,
so I'm excited about that, because I'm one of those. Man, I put a lot of work in here, and I get it. You start fresh, but I just I want to run. I want to be a little OP, with the character from the beginning, as opposed to have to grind and get there. So, Papa Roughness, the new season starts August 6th, my man. And yeah. We got to link up. I'm a rogue myself. I'm a rogue guy. I might try source this season 5 as well. See what's
I'm a
going on.
necro.
Necro, okay. I was hearing
Mm.
today that Necro might be getting a little nerfing here going on,
I
but
think it might be getting some nerfing. It probably needs some.
well,
But
I
like,
mean,
I feel like everyone needs to be like. But barbarians are just so OP because they have the
they
4
are
weapon slots, and so
right,
they get
right,
the bonuses from all the 4
from all
weapons,
the weapons,
and no one gets that bonus like they do. And
right,
so I know that they were trying to bring them up on par with barbarians, so everyone's kind of a higher level, and everyone's doing similar damage to each other, regardless of how you play it. But what I really want to see is just a big difference of if you want to play a very specific build in your
mm-hmm.
class that you're playing, is that there's a really OP way of playing that build, and so that there's diversity. Because once everyone's like, this is the build this season, everyone mainlines it, everyone's getting the
Right,
same gear,
right,
it's all the same. But I remember like in D3 there was like multiple ways that you could play a class, and it didn't matter, and then you could get the gear you wanted, and then that class was so OP once you ran that particular way you were playing it. Because I always played a very particular type of Crusader, and it was really OP as a solo build, and could be good in a support class. But like if I wanted to play the Crusader another way with some different gear and going with some different skills, there was another amazing OP build I could play as well. And I just don't think there's enough diversity yet. And I think that's based on how they've designed the skill trees as well. But I mean, they're working on it. They're working on it.
Well, I think also that goes along with that, and is that everyone runs to these meta builds.
Yes.
Because and that's what I don't understand. It's like, look, people want to feel OP.
Yeah.
So they run to the meta build because they see that these guys are grinding, have all this gear, they have all the best in slot, they've got, the best rolls, everything is just awesome. And sometimes it's not as attainable as we think it is, but we run to these builds and then nobody's trying anything else. Like, I tried pin shot and I was like, yeah, I'm good. But pin shot is actually OP right now.
Yeah.
But nobody's playing it because it's not popular. You know what's popular for Rogue? Heartseeker.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can just hold the button, and once you get that attack speed going, and you start getting that lucky hit chance, mix that with some high, pretty decent crit. Everything's vulnerable. You're pretty good. You're good to go. So everyone wants that. And I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of people like myself and what Assassin will be. We are casual gamers. So we're like, I got an hour. What can I do in an hour? And if you don't feel OP in an hour, you're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. I'm leaving. This is bullshit. I'm gonna go play Vampire Survivors where I am OP.
Well, I am OP. Let me get the onion. I'm good, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
I love Vampire Survivors. Such a good game.
It is a great game.
Yeah, it's such a good game. All right. Well, very quickly, we've just got a quick update around Discord. So there's some new Discord integration happening on Xbox with some upgrades. You're able to watch friends' Discord streams now, and this was up on Clobriel's Twitter or X page on his account. Friends' voice channels now appear under the Happening Now directly in the Xbox guide, which is really nice. If you aren't familiar with using Discord, you actually have to go over to like the party chat section and go into Discord to see who's on Discord, like, and who's in a live chat. So this is going to be so good now that's in an Xbox guide. And you can now call your Discord friends directly from your Xbox. I feel like I was already doing that, but oh no, we were just joining chat. I don't think we were actually calling our Discord friends directly. So maybe I'm excited for the integration. Assassin, do you use Discord at all on Xbox?
I do whenever my laptop doesn't work. I've had to join our own podcast through Xbox. So yeah, I've dabbled in it a little bit. Yeah. It's a great lifesaver.
It is. Are you excited for the some of the quality of life improvements? I mean, it is a quick news story. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but yeah.
To say I'm excited would be kind of an exaggeration, but I'm more thankful for it.
Yes.
Like, there are some people on Discord that I talk to every now and again that are like, hey, I'll just call you through my Xbox. I'll just do it that way. If my phone's dead and my laptop's not working, hey, my Xbox will come in and save me. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, and Sol, what about yourself? Do you spend any time on Discord?
Yeah, I'm mainly on Discord when I am running D4 with my people. We'll get on, but then sometimes so crazy. Sometimes we'll just get on and then just talk to each other throughout the day on Discord. I'm looking like, who is it? Then look like, why? Just call me, and we're sitting there on Discord. But it's nice that we're in this group chat and everybody's on, and we're just going about our day. Some folks are at work. Some folks are at home. I'm getting ready to go back to work. Summer's over. So, it's nice to have that option. And I'm glad that they're making these changes. I think there's some needed changes. The thing that I'm most excited about, though, is watching the streams.
Yes.
That is a cool thing. And, I hate to compare to another console, but there was one thing that I really... No, I do. Because, hey, don't get me wrong. I like I like to watch and read and all the console war stuff because I think it's fun. I think it's fun. I
Yeah.
think it's funny until people make things personal. Then it's hey, step away from the personal stuff. Keep it light. Keep it
Go
fun,
outside,
and
touch
we're
some
good to
grass.
go. Yeah, go out, touch some grass, do some push ups, some pull ups. Something like that. Have a gummy or something. Chill out. Whatever you need to do. Right.
Have a gummy.
And
Have a gummy. I prefer brownies, but yeah, I mean,
okay.
I'm inclined to gummies too.
Is
It's
that the
whatever you
new
like.
30-second flavor at Baskin Robbins Soul?
Right there you go. The 31 flavors. Okay.
Now gonna be
So
32.
The special
32.
limited edition flavor.
Say, I mean, but I think that so that PlayStation has a feature where you can it has like that picture in picture.
Yeah.
And so, you just hit up the person, share with them, and then next thing you know, you're playing your game and they're showing you what they're doing over here, as they're playing a totally different game. Doesn't have to be. And
Mm.
I thought that was so cool. And I'm thinking to myself, like, now, damn it, Microsoft, get your shit together. And this is an easy feature that I think you could have because let's just say, like, I like to watch college football, right? I like to watch 25.
That's
But
good lyric.
I'm not buying it. I haven't played a sports game since well, I already said at the top of the hour, I hit 50, so I haven't purchased. Let me say that I haven't purchased a sports game since the 2K that Jordan was on, and I only bought it because he was on and in the game. Wasn't going to even open it. It got opened by my nephews. I'm still salty about that. Before that, it was 2K1 football
Mm.
with Randy Moss. So that was what, 91, 92? Something like that. No, it wasn't 92. I'm lying.
I was
It
going to
was
say it's
90.
later
It
than
was
that,
no,
right?
it was like no, it was 99 when 2K came out, and then like 90 or 2001 2K1 football came out. I don't play sports games, but I love to watch them. So I love the fact that, my cousin, he could show me what he's doing playing, let's say a 2K or something, while I'm sitting there running around playing on Uncharted, and vice versa. So I'd have my screen on, he'd have his on. He's like, hey man, yeah, I already did that. So run around here. And when you get to the corner, be ready because they're going to do X, Y, and Z, right? And I thought that was cool. He could walk me through something or assist while he's just sitting there watching my screen. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's a feature that we get over here on this side. I think it has a lot of benefits to it. So I'm really big on that. But didn't we have a picture in picture before, like with the 360 era?
I feel like we had something like that, and we
We had
also
a
had that
lot
like
during the
split
360
screen
era.
side of things with the Xbox
Yeah.
One and like, um, yeah, so many things, and then they got rid of it. And I'm like, oh, because
They,
what I
they they
used to
went
do is I would use the input and output, and I had like my 360 connected into my Xbox One, and I would like split screen some stuff so that like
snap.
someone was doing something. The snap, yeah, that's what it was. Someone was doing something on one screen, and I was doing something
Thanks,
on the other
RSJ.
screen, and like I used to do that all the time, or watch a TV series with it up on screen while I'm playing a video game. I'll just look up every so often, and like it was fantastic.
Hey, I think those features, and I'm watching the chat here. Thanks, guys, for correcting me. Those features that they had during those two eras, especially some of the ones that they had in the Xbox One era, I like the Connect. Now, like a lot of people, I didn't like that it was kind of forced on you, but I like the Connect.
Yeah,
But you're talking about somebody who I'm talking to the Xbox, all the stuff that we do now with our phones and our TVs and our homes is everything's automated, like the
mm.
damn Jetsons, right? We're talking to everything, Alexa, and I love the fact that we could talk and we could do all these different things, and I think that Snap feature was really cool that we had. And yeah, PS3 didn't have anything like that, but I like the fact whatever they call it now on this PS5, I think that's pretty darn cool. So I'm hoping that it's integrated kind of like that with Discord, but we'll see. Did they say exactly what streaming you would have to use? Is it going to be relegated to Twitch, or is
Just
it just
watching a
any?
friend's Discord stream, so it wasn't.
So
It
Discord
didn't
stream,
mention
okay.
Twitch at all at this point. So I assume if they are using Discord to stream to Twitch, then you could just probably watch the Discord directly instead of going on to Twitch. Because Twitch integration, like I can't remember how good it is on the Xbox. I don't actually use Twitch very often, except when I am getting my Halo drops.
There you go.
That is when I'm watching Twitch. It's just in the background. I'm doing something else that's in the background so I can get my Halo drops.
Gotcha.
um,
Yeah, and I'm not big on Twitch either. I mean, it's kind of YouTube and yeah, there you go. So
my life is YouTube and like my Xbox and my PC. All right. Well, shout out to Fuck You for the £2. Shout out to Panda, Panel, and Love Heart. Love to Rhetri. Miss you. Yes. Thank you, Fuck You, for that. And thank you for changing the photo to me deep throating my microphone. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to give you another middle finger later. Oh.
Panda, that's just not something that I thought I was going to. That was not on my bingo card today.
I mean, you've watched Wolverine and Deadpool, so like, I mean, I feel like that's tame.
Yo, I
Yeah.
I want to talk about that movie so bad now that I've watched it,
I
but I'm
haven't
sure
watched
there's
it, so no
somebody who
spoilers.
is not who in the chat who has not seen it. So I don't even want to talk about it like whatsoever. It was
But
it
tell
was
everyone
it
to
was
watch
a
it.
but watch it. If you're a Deadpool fan, you're gonna love it.
Mm,
If you are I want the MCU to kind of go into an adult direction in different movies, you're gonna love it.
yeah.
The cameos itself was worth the price of admission. How they handled the cameos, and there's quite a bit of them, was awesome. There is fan service throughout the entire movie. I mean, the
Yeah.
entire movie. You have to watch billboards and writing. It's so much. You're going to miss a lot. But it was very well done, very funny. It's from beginning to end. High octane. You're gonna love it. If you have not seen it, please go check it out. It's Ryan Reynolds. He did his thing. He did it.
This
He
thing.
did his whatever the fight was with Disney and Marvel to get this movie made. I'm glad he stood, as the young folks like to say, I'm glad he stood on business and he got the movie made because it's a great little movie. I'm definitely digging it. You're a comic book fan,
I
go.
want to watch it. I just have to line it up because I want to go. I was wanting to watch it today, but the sister I live with wants to go watch it, and so three of us have to go watch it together.
Gotcha.
But and that's not going to happen today. And
Yeah.
so I've had to switch to watching Twisters today.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I love the original Twister film, and I'm hearing that there's good things about this one. And I've purposely not watched Twister again because I'll do comparisons to no end and just compare the hell out of it. But I'm excited. I mean, there aren't very many good films about tornadoes, and so
Mm.
when there is a good one, I want to watch it. And so
Well,
yeah,
Panda, let me just say this. I don't know how frequent, you get tornadoes.
we don't.
Okay.
Very, very
So
rare.
Assassin can testify to this. Down here in Texas, and especially up around Oklahoma, it's quite frequent. And I know
Very.
it's a movie. I know it's a movie, and it's supposed to be fun.
They're
But
not meant to be.
when
It
you,
would be very triggering, right?
but
PTSD.
what I for me, when I watched, I don't. It took me a while to watch the original Twister when it came out. Um, and I may watch this when it comes to a streaming service. I might,
Yeah.
but I just think about the devastation that we've seen even here in the Metroplex, right? And over the last 3, 4, 5 years. And when you see all the displacement of people, businesses,
Mm.
things of that nature, it's just watching a movie like that. It's kind of like, and I hate to be that guy right now
Hey, fair enough.
about Twisters, but I just see what happens, and it's kind of like, because it happens quite a bit down here, and especially up towards Oklahoma. It's kind of like tornado country, so it's a lot of devastation that happens with
To
that.
to understand, like I went to the United States in 2003,
Gotcha.
and I was there for 3 weeks. And we
Okay.
were leaving the Grand Canyon, and I don't remember where we were driving to, but up the road, all this traffic's coming the other way, and there's a tornado. And I'd never seen a tornado in person. And in 3 weeks, like only there for 3 weeks. I saw a tornado when I was in the United States. And obviously, Twister had already been out, and we're like, oh my God, what do we do? We were driving the other direction anyway, so it was
Right,
okay. It wasn't a
right.
very big one, but it was like of all the times of this minimal time of being in the country, see a tornado. And so I definitely, and it was an eye opener around that respect. Like tornadoes are very rare in New Zealand, like excessively rare. And so we don't get it like on the devastation. Like I understand there's that section, like what do they call it over in the States? Tornado Valley or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was, and that just like watching that on the news definitely is quite sad, knowing that you're on the other side of the world and you can't do anything.
Right.
So yeah, I feel it. Like wait for this to come out, watch for anything, but like because I can't go and watch Deadpool and
Right.
Wolverine and every other movie in the cinema, I don't really want to go and see right now. It's the only thing I'm moderately interested in is this film. So it just happened to be the flip of the coin. I honestly, it was Deadpool and Wolverine all the way for me.
Well, I tell you
Nothing
what,
else.
you make sure that they go to see Deadpool and Wolverine with you when it's your flip of the coin or whatever it is, because it's a really good movie.
I think
really.
we're
It's
gonna.
a really fun
I
movie. If you
think
love
I'm
the
aiming
Fox
for
Marvel
next weekend.
movies specifically.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
God, Assassin, I want to talk about it, but we can't.
I want to talk
wanna
about it
We
too.
can just message later
I've
to
seen
each
it.
other.
Yeah, it
We'll
was
talk about it
really.
tomorrow when we play Diablo 4.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, but this is not a spoiler right here. Did you catch how he's sitting there just talking, to Wolverine, and he's like, "Yeah, Hugh." So he keeps calling him Hugh throughout the whole movie, and he's talking about,
I
yeah, he's
noticed that.
talking,
I was like,
he's calling people by their real names and stuff like that. I mean, he's talking about his wife Blake. He had a couple of jokes in there about her, and
about the Gossip Girl, yeah.
yeah.
I was like,
It's
bruh, really?
yeah, they when I say this is like a fan service, but very well done
I love
fan
films that
service
take
movie.
the piss
Yeah,
and do it well.
yeah,
Break the
this is
fourth wall.
really. Oh no, he literally runs to
There's
the fourth
no
wall.
fourth wall. It's it's open season.
Yeah, it is open, and when you watch this movie, the amount of sexual innuendo, language, and whatever, you have to stop and say this is a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Because it's officially a Disney movie.
Yep. Because I love
so
Deadpool
the beginning of
1.
that movie, when Deadpool was fighting you know who, that whole group, and he used the
Okay.
the things on his hands, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And he was just going back and forth, I'm like, bruh,
Yeah.
how is this Disney? This is not Disney.
I know exactly, because I said to myself like, oh,
Fuck.
what? And yeah. You okay? And you
I'm
gotta see it.
excited. Stop
Chad,
talking
you gotta
about it.
see
You're
it.
making me
I
upset
know.
that I can't see it today.
It's really hard. So it's really hard to not talk about it. And I literally just saw. I went to the 12 o'clock show today, so I just saw this movie. So it's really really fresh, and it is off the chain. If they could put it in a movie, I think Ryan said, "What else can we put in the movie?" And I think Disney just said, "Whatever you want."
I mean, how much money is it? It's been insane. It's made. Do you know what? All I want is those controllers. I want one of each. Just sell it. Do not make it a sweepstake. Do not make it a giveaway. Just let me have both the Deadpool and Wolverine controller with the magnetic ass cheeks. Those controllers are hilarious.
They gave them to Hugh and Ryan, actually. They gave those controllers to them.
I know, but I'm like, I want one.
But you know what's hilarious? What's hilarious is that Microsoft, excuse this fork that I put in my hand here because my wife just brought me some dinner. Look, I didn't realize I had it in my hand until I saw it in the camera, right?
You're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. What is hilarious to me is that Microsoft, it's got to be a contractual thing, did not say let's mass produce or at least have a run of 5,000 or whatever of these controllers, because they would have sold out. I would have bought one.
I mean,
I would have bought one. And the fact that they didn't, I mean, that's, to me, that's like money on the table, you know, because the controller is so dope. I mean, who doesn't want to play Okay, I was about to say that
Just the
doesn't sound
fact that
good.
they were
Let me
making
not say
jokes
that.
about where people were like, "Where do the batteries go?" And they're like, "Where do you think?" Like, oh,
Exactly, right?
oh, so good.
Yeah, but
A little
My
so
only
AC/DC
issue
in the
was people.
backseas.
yeah.
My only issue was people comparing the Astrobot controller to these and going, Astrobot's better because it's based off a game. I'm like, Deadpool was a game, also a comic, and also it's gonna probably be one of the biggest movies of the whole year. So you're upset that there's no PlayStation version of these controllers. Like, grow the fuck up.
Mm,
Sorry, language, but grow up. That's
yeah.
my
I
biggest
mean,
issue was this week of people moaning about that. I was like, just admit you're jealous. It's okay.
yeah. I mean, well, you know what? It's no fun when the rabbit has the gun.
Oh, I love that line. Oh, that's
I mean,
great.
Or the
but just think
That's a
squirrel.
about
great
it.
line.
Yeah, but think about it. How long those who primarily play on Xbox or only play on Xbox, think of how long uh, fans have had to endure not getting the cool stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
So I
Shoes on
mean,
the other foot now.
turnabout is fair play.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually glad that Microsoft is starting to use the money that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
let's make it
What they
happen.
should have
Long
done.
yeah.
Sorry about that, Soul. You
No,
go
no, no,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No,
I'm over here debating on hitting this camera real quick to eat some of this food.
Have
So
something to
yeah,
eat. I'm like
you
looking at these chocolate coated pretzels and going, yes.
I
yeah,
don't
I
want to
haven't
eat
been
in front of
talking very much
everybody.
because I'm eating my food as well. But what I was just gonna say is, Microsoft had an opportunity, mass produce these controllers and say, hey, I'm I'm just calling it here, $79.99. You get the controller, but you also get a ticket to go see the damn movie. They should have just done that.
Hmm.
That would have
That would
paid
have
a
been
lot
dope.
of. That would have been great. Like, cool. I get this cool ass controller and I get to go see the movie. Sign me the fuck up.
I love how you're like cool
Why?
ass controller. Sorry.
Imagine if they made a flap for that though, Panda. Like
Well,
you
it's
already have the ass
magnetized,
cheeks
right?
on the controller, but just make the ass cheeks on the console too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But you know what? I'm surprised that they didn't, because that would have been a great controller to
Yes.
have his
Oh
cheeks
my
on. I
god.
mean, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Hmm.
I would have loved it.
Honestly,
Well,
do
I
you know what they
mean,
should do? When Xbox
yeah.
releases their handheld, just have a version like that, like a Deadpool Wolverine version. Like the cushiony, how it like just rests. This is sorry. I can dream. Sort it, Microsoft. Sort it.
Well, hopefully they'll
um
figure it out.
Now, in the world that is gaming news, we had some sad news happening in the space of Bungie, who lost roughly another like 17% of their workforce. And so that lays off around 220 staff on that space. Is I was quite shocked and saddened to hear this news, mainly because it just puts a lot of I guess shade and like concern into what is actually happening with that studio and what is happening with their future roadmap around Marathon. The fact that you're not going to see a Destiny 3 anytime soon. I'm actually particularly worried about Marathon. It also puts a lot of thought into, if Bungie's not doing so well, why did they make any point around telling them to cancel? I mean, telling them to maybe not, like, Factions isn't it. Factions might have been great because now we've got Concord and we know what Bungie was like. Concord's a good idea. And Concord is imploding in on itself. But obviously they're talking about being due to rising costs of development, industry shifts, and enduring economic conditions. But it definitely throws a spanner in the works around what the future of Bungie is going to look like, and whether or not there is even going to be a Bungie in the future? I know you're eating your soul, so I'm going to throw to Assassin here. What are your thoughts around this news breaking, and what do you think it means for the future of Bungie and for the future of Sony? Was this a good buy, or was this not a good buy? Like, please tell all on your thoughts.
Oh, I mean, we can debate about whether Bungie was a good idea for Sony to begin with. They themselves wanted to jump into the live service bandwagon. They saw how much money it takes to make these games, their games specifically, like God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, Spider-Man in particular, because that's the license IP. So to grab Bungie, it when you think as a consumer, and I know you shouldn't think as a consumer thinking about corporate decision making, but I
Skullduggery.
digress. Yeah. But acquiring Bungie I thought was a good idea for them, so that way they had at least some experience on that live service bandwagon.
I
But
agree.
keep
I
in
thought it
mind,
was.
this is their second round of layoffs in less than a year. They had a round of layoffs back in October last year. I
Mm-hmm.
think they had about 15% of their workforce cut then as well.
12%, yeah.
Morale has been dwindling. Everyone's afraid to go into work because they don't know if there's going to be a third round of layoffs. And that piece by Jason Schreier, they weren't even making Destiny 3. They were making a codename game called Payback.
Which has been
And it was
shelved.
a third-person spin-off set in the Destiny universe. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what? And they canceled it 2 months ago when they found out that the Final Shape had underperformed. So Final Shape underperformed. They wasted a bunch of time and money on this unannounced spin-off. They're putting everything into Marathon, which is described as more of Escape from Tarkov, and they actually did have some members of that community there in secret at Bungie playing Marathon and asking their opinions. And from what they said, they didn't like it. They didn't like it at all. So to see Bungie just go from one of the main revolutionary leaders in the live service bandwagon, what is going on over there? I mean, they
I
cut
agree.
220 jobs, and to be fair, it was going to be 375, but they moved, I think it was 155 roles to Sony Interactive Entertainment to continue making one of their smaller projects under the PlayStation Studios
SIE.
banner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, it's still terrible. Yeah, the Final Shape may have underperformed, but it still made a shit ton of money. And then we find out that Pete Parsons, the CEO, after the Sony buyout, he bought $2.3 million worth in cars. None of these employees have gotten their payouts, and they were cut last year before they were set to get those.
Yeah.
What's it called? Retention? The retention
Uh,
bonuses? They
uh,
were cut off before they could get those.
yes, because it was about $1 billion of the $3.6 billion deal was meant to be left aside for, what is it?
We're retaining all the
For retaining
employees.
the employees, so they didn't have to get rid of them. Yeah, you're right, they didn't. And very interesting the contrast between the layoffs last year, where people were just like, you're gone, goodbye, versus the conversation this point where they're saying we're going to look after our staff, the redundancy packages. And I'm like, it's a very different conversation based, I guess, on the backlash of the layoffs of last year. I think they're trying to save a bit of face and try and keep a bit of goodwill within the community. But I think I feel like they're just on fire and they're putting out fires and they just can't keep up.
The thing that has me the most concerned, though, according to this Jason Schreier report, they're also cutting down on doing annual content for Destiny 2, so that way the main team could focus on Marathon. So my question is, and my concern is, if Marathon does not perform well, what exactly is Bungie gonna be doing?
What do they
Like,
fall back
obviously
on?
they're gonna are they gonna try and save it? Like, what? Guys, you took on too much too fast.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What? I think that's some really good points there. I know Soul is just finishing off, getting ready to jump in and be like, here's my takes. But it's just they've acquired by Sony 2.5 years ago, and they haven't met their profits that they needed to be meeting. Um, there's so much happening in there. Like, I think they need to go back and look at their Destiny 2 content that they sunset and bring it back available to those who want to continue playing Destiny 2 while we see what Marathon ends up being. But a lot of their hardcore, I feel like they've lost a lot of that. Even the casual market. Like, I was a massive Destiny fan. I have over 1,000 hours in Destiny 1. I put quite a bit of time into Destiny 2, nowhere near as much as Destiny 1, because Destiny 2 just didn't hit the same for me. Yes, they brought my favorite raid into Destiny 2, which was Vault of Glass. But they never got me back in. And when they started sunsetting content, that also was a bit of a, what happens if I want to go back and experience that story all the way from what Destiny 2 was up until where it is now with the final shape. But if we're talking about the final shape of Bungie is not looking great either in general. Lightfall was a big sort of failure in that respect. It had initial good projections, and it just didn't hit very well. And so I feel like they've been clawing things back and trying to get back on track. But even if you look at the history, like obviously they left Microsoft, and the Halo IP stayed with Microsoft, and they went off and did their own thing, and then they went with Activision, and then that didn't work out with the management, and now it looks like there's a bit of back and forth with what's happening on the Bungie side with their management and what's happening with Sony, and there's a bit of contention there. But I think the biggest issue, if you're looking at the history, is just the management on the Bungie side seems to be failing their employees and the company, and they're not just doing right by what these game developers want to deliver. And it feels like Bungie is a shell of itself, which is quite sad to see that, because Bungie has this massive pedigree around the love that people have for what they did with Halo, the love that people did when they brought out Destiny, and I just don't think they're making the right moves and making the right calls on some of the advice they were giving Sony as well. I think there were some games that probably had a bit more credence, that could have maybe done it with a bit more time and a bit more love, and maybe delivered a product that PlayStation gamers would have been happy with. But what's been delivered isn't. It feels like they're chasing trends in that respect. But Sol, I'm going to jump to you. What are your thoughts on this news? Like, what were you when you first heard about this, and what do you think is happening with Bungie now?
Well, first of all, layoffs, they
Very
completely suck.
sad.
They completely suck.
Mm-hmm.
Stepped away from my main thing about a year, 2 years ago, doing something different, and was subject to the same thing. What goes through your mind, as a provider for your household, it's just like, what am I going to do next? And I think a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say that. I think sometimes we feel that people are going to be okay no matter what. And we always pray that everyone comes out of, these layoffs and situations okay. Speaking about myself, came out, we were fine. Very blessed to have a wife who could fill in the gaps, during that time of transition. So I say all that to say that it just sucks for everybody, you know. But in the industry, the trends that we are seeing right now, there are a lot of people who are suffering layoffs, and like you guys said, they had these before. The entire industry is facing the same type of thing. We know what kind of effect that COVID had, over hiring people, and now you're seeing a lot of people are being let go. But there's been something kind of nefarious going on with Bungie for a very long time. If you really think about it, they've just kind of hopped around to the highest bidder, and we've gotten a product from them, but we haven't gotten much since they've been acquired by Sony. And I know it takes time for everything, but for those investors, hey, you're on the clock. And so, they haven't seen what they needed to see. And so unfortunately, these decisions have to be made. Um, as far as the company, if Marathon doesn't hit, yeah, they will probably just get swallowed up, by Sony. proper.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, what can you say? You can't expect for Sony to do anything different because, when people talk about, let's say, like Microsoft, well, how come they just don't do X, Y, and Z? They have the money for it. Well, they didn't become Microsoft by just spending money all willy nilly or making these
Mm-hmm.
bad investments where they didn't turn it around by making other decisions that are hard decisions. So Sony has to make sure that they are, they can keep the doors open. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. And so, these are decisions that they have to make, and it's unfortunate for the development team and the studios and everything else. But so I get it. May not like it, but I definitely get it. As far as the state of with Destiny and I played a little bit. I got into it, but I got away from it right when, like, let's say the season or whatever was dropping out. Never really went back. Like I said, I am kind of staunch in the games that I play. Like if I'm playing a first person shooter, well, let me play Halo campaign. Let me play something that I'm real familiar with. I like
Yeah.
Destiny. That it was tight shooting. Everything was tight. It was great. It looked great. Sounded great. I just didn't really get into it. So as far as what I would be missing, I haven't missed anything from Bungie. Let's just say that. Um, I do think they're in a bit of a bind. And I hope they get it situated because you hate to see them kind of get swallowed up.
Mm.
And I don't know if if they're still going to be Bungie, or do they just become kind of like support teams, or what do we do? And then
Maybe a
those
name change.
devs,
Yeah, who
yeah,
knows?
maybe a name change. Who knows what they become? Um, who knows what they become? And I hate to see all that talent. Put it like this: I would hate to see them go, and they're not the Bungie that we know or we've come to know. But with anything, change can be good. New talent can come in
Mm.
and show what they have. But when you're a creatives don't like to be bound in a sense.
Yes.
So if they're going to be bound by Sony to do certain things, that could be part of the problem as well. Being, having
Yeah.
these projects that they really don't have their heart set into. And maybe this is why we've been getting some of this product. Who knows? As far as Parsons, and I know there's
Mm-hmm.
been a lot of talk about it, Assassin kind of talk about it. The
Mm-hmm.
only slight pushback that I have with that, my man, is that yeah, I'm sure he was doing some things that made Bungie more appealing. And, Sony, they paid for that, which most people could see that they're not worth that for
They
that, basically
overpaid.
that one IP. But you're not paying for just that one IP. You're paying for their knowledge and what they would be able to do with their games as a service pipeline that hopefully they could get Sony going in. It just hasn't paid out just yet. But now with Parsons buying these cars, the timing sucks. But it's kind of like this. He did his job to whatever extent. He did earn whatever money he made. He can spend it however he wants to. Now, is it a bad look? Yeah, the timing, it definitely sucks. But I mean, it doesn't look good. He wouldn't have been able to take that money, in my opinion. He wouldn't be able to take that money. And how long could he have prolonged this? Maybe 6 months with those
Yeah.
employees, maybe 6 months, and then we're still in the same situation. So he has less cars, and they had 6 months to maybe find another job. If they would have even told them that they're in 6 months, hey, in 6 months, you're going to be laid off. So you might want to start looking at that point in time. If you're any kind of at will contract or anything, then why not start looking for something now?
Was
So
it was implied, right? They knew that they had like revenue
uh,
targets that they needed to hit, or else there was going to
yeah,
be layoffs, more layoffs
yeah,
coming.
yeah.
So I would have started looking and sort of had half my foot out the door, going, I can see we're not doing so well. Maybe I should start looking around. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know how that office buzz goes when when that new information drops. I mean, even the people who aren't in the know usually know, like, it's shit is
It's
hitting the fan.
absolutely a morale destroyer, right,
Yeah,
for the
and it
company.
is. It is got to be. Just knowing that. And just think about the folks who are out there trying to find something but couldn't find something.
Mhm.
That sucks as well. So the timing of the cars and whatever else he was doing, you know, it definitely sucks. But at the end of the day, if he earned his money, no matter what, if we feel like maybe he didn't earn it because look at the situation that they're in because of the mismanagement. we could look at it like that too. But I mean, at the end of the day, he earned his dollar. How he spends it is how he spends it. But I understand the look of it, of everything. The optics aren't good on this particular scenario. So I don't know.
I mean, if we look at it, and as of this year, right now, as it stands, we've just started month eight of the year. There's been over 10,000 people laid off within the gaming industry worldwide.
Yeah.
Right?
20.
And so
20? It's up to 20?
I'm pretty sure the last update
it might be
20.
over 20, yeah. Damn.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, back in May it was over 10,000, so it's been a few months now since May. But that's quite astonishing. We're looking at just what's happening at the moment. People aren't wanting to spend money. Like, there are plenty of games that I want to buy or that I want to try where I'm just like, oh, I'm going to be smart with my money, because you don't know what's coming down the track that you may need to like spend money on. Like, I just, my fan died in my bathroom, so I'm like, cool, got to go pay an electrician now to come and fix it or replace it altogether. And so it's like, are you squirreling away money for those moments where something could go wrong, rather than where I would have been less likely to, because I had money to burn. But now everything's very costly, and so we're looking at an environment where some consumers are fine, other consumers are very hesitant about where they choose to spend their money and how much they choose to spend. And it's very reflective around some of the sales figures that are happening with games, and just some of the engagement happening with games as well. Like, things that you usually would expect millions upon millions of sales aren't hitting sales targets, which they normally would have 5 years ago, no issue. And so it's just part of this economic climate that we're in. And no matter whether you are on PC, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, or your mobile phone or anything like that, this is affecting every part of the industry in the gaming side of things. And so it isn't just solely around a very particular, let's go after Microsoft or let's go after PlayStation and call them out. But this is, I guess, kind of a big point around Bungie, is they've had this acquired. It sounds like the deal that they agreed to sign off when they got acquired by PlayStation maybe wasn't the best deal, but it's also coming off the back of they just had layoffs, and now they're having more layoffs, and they're quite a big, well-known studio, so it's going to draw in a lot of fanfare. Soul, you're good? Oh, you're back. Okay. And so there's a lot riding on this, and so it is a big news story this week. It was quite shocking. I didn't expect layoffs as quickly as we saw. I was expecting, hopefully, maybe next year we might hear about more layoffs. I'm hoping that Marathon delivers, and that's my thing. I'm hoping it delivers for them, but I also, it's not a well-known IP. Like, it was a game on PC like forever ago, right? And so, and what I've seen of it so far, wasn't interested in. So maybe they can change my mind in the future. But yeah, I feel for the people who've lost their jobs with Bungie. I really do. And I also feel for the people who are still there, because there is that level of uncertainty of what's going to happen next. And even if we deliver a great product and it sells well, are we still going to have our jobs at the end of the day? And I feel like a lot of companies are sitting in that space as well. Yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you now.
Yep,
I don't know what's going on over here. Like, my screen has gone black over here. So I am. Can you guys see me though?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, I can see you.
I don't know what's going on. So I'm trying to figure it out. So
maybe try reloading. Try reloading. Reloading.
I have no idea what the deal is. But I was just gonna say that I agree with you, and you made some really good points right there, Panda.
Yeah.
So sorry if I am kind of looking all over the place. I don't know what the deal is.
We can see you. We can hear you. That's the main thing.
I'm so sorry. Well, if you move on, I'll try to chime in and not make too much of a mess. I do apologize.
Is there anything else you want to add, Assassin, of anything that I've said, or before we head over to our next topic?
Not really add, but I don't know if this is the next topic for you, but we'll discuss this later anyway.
I mean, if you want to jump into another topic, go for it.
I mean, it's kind of ironic though that both Microsoft and Sony via Bungie. They both had layoffs.
Yep.
But then they also brought up a AA studio each. One at Activision, and then, like I said before, 155 of these roles are going to Sony to form their own studio for this third-person action-adventure game, whatever they're working on. That was originally being made by Bungie, but now it's going to be made by a new unnamed studio under Sony. So we we well, not just the one from in Poland back in May, but also this one that you were putting on the topics, the ones about King and Blizzard.
Yes, the new the new studio. They're going to be making a AA titles from existing IP. Yeah, we can talk about that now because I think that's a good topic to talk about. It kind of bounces off the topic from the beginning of the show around Fable with their new team. Yeah, if you want to jump in there, have at it, Assassin.
Well, I mean, other than the fact that it's mainly King developers, so
Yeah.
apparently a bunch of people from King went over to Blizzard. Like you said, they're going to be focusing on AA titles that are based on existing IP. So my question is this technically like a AA mobile studio that's going to maybe make like a Halo mobile game, or is this like the mobile developers jumping into console gaming? So I'm kind of curious about that though. Like, is it one or the other? Is it neither of those? Is it both? Like, I'm curious though. It's funny that they say existing IP too. It's like they really want to emphasize that.
Yeah, I agree. Like my thoughts are like King, who heavily Candy Crush Saga, but maybe it might be some people from like who are like artists or something that coming into there. Who knows? Like it isn't very clear what type of talent is moving into that space, and we're going to start that new team. And it sounds like they're pulling what is it, talent from other areas of Blizzard as well to put this together and create those AA. It could be a phone game. Who knows? Because we're looking at what Microsoft still has to deliver their phone, I guess, marketplace, whatever they're going to be delivering on that side of things. And we haven't heard anything since around what is happening with their with that. Oh, I can't think of what it's called. Why can't I think of what it's called? But we haven't heard anything else. I blame it on me still being sick. So my brain is like not firing on all cylinders. But yeah, they haven't really, their mobile storefront. We haven't heard much about that and where that's at. I know that there's been a little bit of it's coming together nicely. But I also think there's plenty of opportunity just to actually create a game that could be cross all of that, and whether that is on cloud or that is on mobile or on console or PC, you could have an IP that kind of spans across all of it. Who knows?
I mean,
Soul.
Well, you know, I'm thinking that's I think I'm back on. I can see myself here on the screen.
Welcome.
It is crazy that it just left. Well, thank you. I'm back.
And you're upside down.
I think that's what they're
You're not.
And I'm upside down? Oh,
I'm just
You're
kidding.
not. It's just trolling.
well, damn. I'm over like, well, ain't that some shit? Excuse me, language. But hey, after all of that, I mean, I'm over here struggling like, oh my gosh, man, I can't get on, and they don't see me. And I'm over here. I was hoping I wasn't cussing under my breath. Like,
it was a great joke, Assassin. We appreciate
that
it.
was great. Because I'm over here like, I'm looking at myself. I look fine right now. What's going on? Okay. Hey, I tell you what. Yeah, wait till we get to Helltide, buddy. I just kind of slide away from you. That's what we'll do.
You encourage him to put a mind cage on, and then you just walk away.
Put a mind cage, baby. Let's go. Let's level up. I'm out, man. I'm back in Kovacic, baby. I'm fixing my gear. Yeah. Oh man, no, I think that's the direction that they're going. I think that's what they should do, is try to get, you know, some of these some of the staples of the library that we have, and get these mobile versions going. I think that's what they're going to do. Give them another spit, shine, and polish. They, you might see them bringing back some of these older games and just kind of bring them bring them to the mobile store and the mobile front. I think that's where they're going to be putting a lot of their resources moving forward. I think we are probably going to see that console I would like to see it next year, but what do they say about 2026? But I just want confirmation that we're getting it, and I want to see what it looks like. And I just want them to get going on that because I like the hybrid of the Switch that I have. I didn't jump out to get ROG Ally or anything else because I just want Microsoft to have their own dedicated one. And I'm just kind of not going to spend my money all willy nilly on something that, it's not niche, but I would rather wait now that I know it's coming out. So I think that's going to be a great big push, to complement the mobile store once they kind of get their feet wet, and it'll be a nice way to get people to come on over and check out what's going on when they can see some of the same great titles that we have, or a smaller version of it, or whatever it is, and maybe we get something like we have the Halo multiplayer, but maybe you get something that's more like Warzone, for the Halo verse, or whatever you want to say. We get more of the games, the Vampire Survivors. I think we're going to get more of that good variety, like I was talking about at the top of the show. And I hope that's what we get because variety is the spice of life. And I like a lot of variety in my casual gaming, because some days I don't want to play something that's going to be heavy and I have to put a lot of work into. I just want to put in something a little mindless like Vampire, Survivors, but it's quality through and through. And we have a great gaming experience. So hopefully that's what they're doing. And,
Are we ever going to find that vampire in the coffin, or is it in another map or another coffin?
don't start. Don't start.
I do love
don't
that joke though.
don't
Sorry, but
start.
the princess is in another castle. That's just trolling. I love when games troll, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they do a good job of it. But I like what they've been doing with that game. Since we're talking about, I like what they've been doing. The Contra part was really, really cool. I really like
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, But no, that's really all I have with that. Don't have much to say. I'm just really excited to see where they go with this, though. I think they have a lot of control. Of the gaming industry, even though it doesn't look like it maybe to the naked eye. But
They're
Microsoft
sitting
has
on a lot
admit
of IP
they're
that
a
isn't
lot of
used.
IP. I know, some people are still reeling because of the Activision Blizzard acquisition, but they're part of the Microsoft family, and so it is what it is. Where no matter where the numbers come from, or where they're getting these resources, or Microsoft wouldn't have done this because of, well,
Yeah.
that's what happens when you take on someone else. They become part of your family, right? So they're
Yeah.
part of the family, and hopefully we just get to see the fruits of these purchases. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we're going to see them real soon. And the mobile aspect, and the I keep thinking about my TV in here with the Fire Stick. I think that's going to be a big play of just bringing in a lot of new players, bringing them into the ecosystem and making it to the point where they actually want to go and buy a console,
Yeah.
because you will get the best experience on console, but they have to just figure out a way to meet people where they are. There's so many people around the world who don't have access, or just don't have the financial resources to own a console, but they can maybe spend $80 on a Fire Stick and a controller. Now,
Mm.
the flip side of that, is that it's a good chance the internet might not be that great either, though. So what do?
Yeah.
When it comes to that. But I do like that they're trying to cover all bases,
Cheers.
different platforms, different ways to get us gamers involved. So we'll see. We'll see.
I think it's telling, like, around, like, if you read the articles about the announcement of this team uh being created and looking at smaller titles that they're working on, double A, just interesting the way they're kind of wording it, and they're trying different things. They're looking at the increasing cost to deliver these games at the expectation that gamers kind of have now, based on sort of the performance and the hardware that is available for these developers. And so, how do they manage the increasing cost of making video games, the increasing time frame to deliver on these games before you actually get a return on profit? By actually focusing on maybe smaller teams that deliver smaller titles, and you and they go straight into Game Pass as well, and keep that engine going and keep feeding that giant that is just becoming a giant all on its own. Um, and that is where you've got the small teams. Like, we looked at what Grounded became based off of Obsidian, and that smaller team that delivered that. I know that with Bleeding Edge, that was a smaller team within the Ninja Theory side. It wasn't successful, but there was no harm in putting that game into Game Pass. It was a small team. The cost for them, it wasn't a big budget title, so they weren't losing a lot of money in providing that. And then you've got even Sea of Thieves wasn't something massive, but it has really taken over in what it's become as a game, with all the seasons it's got, all the content it's delivered, the amount of people who've played that game. And so they're really looking at other ways to add more to, I guess, add more for us, more value for us.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they do that? By delivering these smaller games with smaller teams, and then those teams get the experience and could possibly deliver on a much bigger scale in future. Who knows? But I do like the fact that they're trialing this and going, how do we do this? How do we mitigate the costs? How do we keep gaming relevant and keep a constant flow of games coming through? And this is how one way we could do that is just start creating these smaller teams working on smaller titles. We've got this abundance of IP that we're sitting on that is just sitting there doing nothing. How do we get this IP back up here and make it like front facing, and then maybe deliver on sequels later on, because there's plenty of opportunities in that space. So I'm excited. Like, I'm excited for the Fable team. I'm excited to see what these people do. I'm a bit curious because it's like King coming from the mobile side, but obviously it'll be Blizzard as well, with the team that they're building. But yeah, Assassin, anything else you would like to add?
Oh, well, on a fun note, it would be pretty cool in like a couple years to see Soul load up Candy Crush and he gets a Blizzard high quality Candy Crush cinematic. It would be kind of cool to see that. But on a more
Yeah.
serious note, Microsoft going into the mobile space is a very good idea, especially in those Eastern countries, in Asia, recently China. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
guys saw the news today, but Final Fantasy XIV and Rainbow Six Siege got their mobile ports approved in China, so that they were going to be playable sometime later this year.
Well done.
Call of Duty Mobile is a big success over there. Apex Legends Mobile on the go type of devices and games are the way to go, specifically in those areas. I know that none of this matters if Microsoft can't get their marketing act together.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
nobody knew that Hellblade 2 was coming. Nobody knew about any of these games coming before in the last couple of years. People were like, "Oh, Perfect Dark is coming back." Like, yeah, they announced that like 4 years ago. That's the thing. Microsoft just does not know how to market anything, it seems like.
Mm.
And they really need to get
Hire
over that.
Ryan Reynolds. Hire him. Hire him. He can market the hell out of Deadpool and Wolverine. He can market the hell out of Xbox games. Hire him.
hire Ryan Reynolds as the marketing lead. Didn't the
Oh,
marketing lead for Xbox leave, by the way? Jarrett West? I'm pretty sure he left.
Yeah.
One of the leads, yeah.
Well, yeah.
One of them, anyway.
I think it wasn't a force out. I think he left because I don't
I think
remember
he left
any.
voluntarily.
Yeah, and he had been there for a long time, as well. And actually had, I'm trying to say, was he there during the 360 era as well? When there was a lot of good stuff going on. I mean,
I
they
think
had the
so.
lion's share,
From
and I think
memory,
he
yes.
was there. So it's just kind of amazing that we don't see the same emphasis. But then again, they haven't really been doing much. And then there was an article or so, about a week or so ago, that came out, right? That or there had been a reporting, maybe not an article, that the marketing team really just doesn't get the funding to do anything. And
Yeah.
maybe that is just a reason why we don't see some things. I don't know, but I just think that with the marketing, Microsoft is, I don't know how they're out of touch. They're out of touch. And when I say that is they don't tap into the culture enough, right? They don't tap into the gaming culture and they don't really tap into the culture enough. There are so many people. You just mentioned Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Why not? I mean,
Memification, lean into it.
why yeah, why I mean you have people who are gamers who we see them posting about games, like just about 2 maybe 3 weeks ago. Snoop had posted a picture of himself playing it was college football. That's what it was. And he
Yep.
had it inside, he was playing on the S, and he had it inside like that little mobile thing, him taking it wherever. Tap, excuse me, tap the fuck in Microsoft. He would do it. Now, yeah, you got to pay Snoop. And after the Olympics, you gotta pay him. But
Yeah.
why not? I mean, just think about it right now. And he is somebody who knows how to market himself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Snoop has been in the game for a long time, a long time, and he's still relevant in different aspects.
Well,
And he's
regardless
a
of what
gamer.
country you're in, everyone has respect for Snoop.
Yeah. So if they see him playing a game, or if he's talking about, jumping on this or Xbox this or Microsoft that, folks will just at least take a look. They'll take a listen.
Mm-hmm.
He's an avid player. Ocho, Chad Johnson, ex football player for the Bengals, big FIFA fan. Big FIFA fan. He's always playing. He's always challenging folks, just regular people, to play. And he plays on Xbox.
Yeah.
And when you watch, the show that he's on with Shannon Sharp, Shay Shay, well, it's not show, it's the one that comes on it later on at night. It's not Shay Shay, I'm sorry. But when you're watching that one, behind him is that big old Xbox controller sitting on the wall. So, you have different people. Ice-T still plays.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little bit in what, Gears? I can't remember who he played in Gears. Def Jam. He already said he would love to voice those and reprise those roles. I mean, you have people, yeah, they're older, but guess what? Who did who just did like that long stream of Elden Ring? Kai Cenat,
Sanat.
right?
He's
Yeah.
about to do Bloodborne later this month too.
Come on, come on. The reach right there. They're not tapping into the right people to get new people to come to the system. They're depending on us, the ones who are there. We're more likely not going anywhere. We're invested, but you got to be able to get these new people. And I think, if they, I want to see what they're going to do. How about that? Maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're just waiting to launch something, and we're just used to them
Maybe.
not giving us much, and so we're just kind of, I'm basing it off of that. Maybe they have something lined up. We're going to see, a barrage of marketing techniques from Microsoft that we haven't seen before. But like I said earlier with the Deadpool deal, they missed out, because I would have spent the money to buy. I mean, it's not that I wanted Ryan Reynolds' ass in my hands. I didn't want his ass in my hands, right? But just
Just admit it. You wanted his ass in your
I
hands.
I did not. Not the cheeks that I would like to have. Okay, but what I'm saying is,
Just pretend they're Blake's.
but what I'm saying is, first the deep throating, now this Panda, you go somewhere. Is that I would love to see them to get it together, because, man, I think everybody on this panel knows that they have a great product. They have great
Yeah.
games. They have great games in the pipeline that are coming up. They have so many games that, if you are not in Game Pass, and even if you're not in there, you still can go and purchase these games, but you got to come into the ecosystem. So
Yeah.
they're giving you different ways to come in, through your TV, through your tablets, through the different handhelds you can get in.
Through some cheeks.
But it's, through some cheeks, right? But it's in the gateway right now is Game Pass, and right now with Game Pass is definitely winning. And I say that from a little bit of a biased view, because I've been a Game Pass subscriber since its inception, and it has increased. Oh my gosh, I don't want to say 100-fold, but it is so much better with the quality of games, with the amount of games that are coming in
Offerings,
there, and
yeah.
and that's not even day and date. That's
Mm-hmm.
not even day and date, and I've been more than satisfied. But I'm a
The
casual
indie
gamer, and I like a
games.
variety.
Oh,
I've played so many indie games that I never would have played. Oh, and spending money on. Oh my god, no! Why? I'm waiting for
have you
the
played
bigger
Tinykin
games.
yet? Did you pick up Tinykin yet?
I still haven't downloaded it. I know I said I was.
It's an easy jump in, jump out type. It's one of those games that you can just graze on. It's very short. It's not a very long game. It's a grazing game, and you'll love it.
Okay,
And your
okay.
daughter will love it.
But
Your
the thing is,
daughter will love it.
I've had it on my list for the longest. I just haven't hit the button, and I need to. And the thing, she's been playing a lot of different games lately. She finished was it
Oh,
Totem? That little black and white cartoony looking deal, hand drawn. It was a cute. She loved it. It had nice little music. It was easy. She beat it. She loved it. I just told her about the one. What's the
has she
name of the
played that
game?
Lana,
It's
Planet of Lana, or whatever? Has she played that? The
no,
little
she
cute
hasn't.
black little cat thingy,
Right?
Bob.
No, she hasn't. But she was just playing some cat game the other day too, though. It wasn't Stray. It was another
Oh,
cat game.
some cat in big city type thing, whatever
Or
it's called.
yeah,
You're playing like a little
she's
black cat.
right. And then I just told her about what's the one. I think it just dropped or it's about to drop, and you're running around getting recipes, but it's also like a platformer.
Dungeons of Hindenburg.
No,
No,
not that one. Not that one.
it's in Game Pass now.
Uh,
It's just dropped.
Oh
Oh, I
yeah.
can't remember what it's
What is
called.
the name of that? Something delicacy or something, right? Or
Yes, something
maybe.
like that. I can't remember what it's called. Someone in
But
the chat might know.
I want her to play it because it actually looks cool. I don't want to. I don't want
I'm
it
not
on
a
my
big
account.
platformer,
I don't
so
want
I
it
don't
on my
usually
account.
play platforming games. Um, but I'm mindful that we've been here for just over 2 hours, so I'm going to just wrap it up with one last topic. And I think the last topic of choice is probably the one that just news came out that Avowed is no longer slated to release the end of this year. We were assuming that it was going to be November, and it has actually been delayed to February. And I'm trying to remember the exact date. February 18th. Am I saying that
18th.
right?
Yep.
February 18th.
Mhm.
Okay, I am right. February 18th, 2025, and it's seems like the delay for Stalker 2 and pushing it into potentially that spot, because that was meant to release in September, so Stalker 2 is probably going to be pushed till November, has just opened them up to push out another game. And I was talking about this last week, and I asked the group last week how likely they think that this means that either Avowed or Indie is going to be pushed back. I thought Avowed was going to be pushed back, but what are your thoughts on that? Are you happy about the delay? Do you think it's warranted? Are you annoyed and going, we were promised this game? I'm going to start with you, Assassin. What are
Being
your thoughts?
annoyed? No, because it just means that Obsidian gets more time to develop the game. They have more time to work out the kinks, to polish it up, make sure that Red and Soul have a good time in third person. I see you, Red. I see you.
I will be playing that in third person. I will.
I will
100%.
be alternating between, just like I did with Skyrim, between first and third. I'm like Soul. Like, in some situations, it's better in first, in some, it's just better in third. That's
I
just
think
how
I'm
I
going
am.
to look at both and decide how I want to play, but it'll probably be third, to be honest.
But I'm actually surprised they actually gave a date for Avowed. To be honest, I thought Indie was going to be the one to be delayed because, in my opinion, Machine Games is completely underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone talks fondly of Obsidian, but not a lot of people either care or know about Machine Games' pedigree with the Wolfenstein franchise. And I think if they just delayed Indie to let it shine on its own, people would talk about them and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle a lot more. But I'm
Yeah.
just glad that they're being transparent. They gave us an actual date. If there is a developer direct in January, like they have been for the past couple years, Avowed, Doom the Dark Ages, South of Midnight, Fable, and maybe something else. Like they've always been doing.
Yeah, they'll have
Like
something
first
out.
year, I think it was God, what
I'm
was
still
it the
waiting on
first year?
Replaced. When is Replaced releasing? Oh,
Yeah, talk about it. That's what I want to
that
know.
game just looks
That
like
oh,
The art style, everything about that game just makes me want to play it like now.
Well, you're waiting on Replace. Hell, I'm waiting on Hollow Knight 2.
Oh yes.
Hollow
Oh
Knight
my
Silk
gosh.
Song?
Silk Song, yeah. Gosh, dog.
That
So
game's
like
never coming out.
it's like Silk
I'm waiting on
Song.
Beyond Good and Evil 2. That's never coming out.
Well, yeah, that may
Never
never come out
coming
neither.
out. It breaks my heart.
Maybe it's
Yeah,
a good thing that one doesn't come out, because look at Skull and Bones.
we may never get that one. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
Skull and Bones is its own disaster that it was.
Well, when Skull and Bones, when they weren't going to come on land much and be in that third person and just do pirate stuff, I was like, nah, it's a wrap. For me, it was a wrap. I can just stick with, gosh, dog, I'm having a mental fart right now, brain fart right now. Sea of Thieves, so. Well, Red Wolf, I'm looking at this chat here. He sounds better on his show because Panda has agreed to give him a small stipend, and so he pulled out the good microphone for this show. Now, if you want to make sure that he sounds better on your show, then you might
Stop
want
asking
to
me to come on camera.
stop coming. There you go. And slide him a small stipend. Give the man a Big Mac or something. Hell, I mean, you know.
Couldn't have said a quarter pounder, could you, Soul? You just had to go for the biggest option.
Hey, man, I'm just saying, just something, man. No, but I'm glad
Yeah, I know.
you sound great.
Everyone
Yeah.
sounds great today. I love it.
Yeah, Avowed! I'm glad it's coming together, though. I'm glad it's coming.
Sol, do you want to add anything around Avowed about being surprised about its delay or
No, I'm not surprised, and I'm glad it was Avowed. Let me tell you why. Because Indiana Jones is an established IP.
Yes.
And you're gonna get what you're gonna get. And Machine Games, they do their thing. I mean, you can only go back and say maybe one that you're like,
You're right.
But other than that, the fact that you will go now, I was more ready for third person indie because not that I wanted it to be like Uncharted. I just feel like a game like that would be better suited for third person. I still feel like I hope they give you a third person option later on down the line, but you will go into third person and different things that you do, right? So okay, great. But I'm really glad that it's Avowed because they can put more polish on it. It's already stacked. Avowed would probably get swallowed up amongst all the other things that people will be playing this fall. Like I said, I'm glad that they're pushing it back. They can put some more polish on it, and they can really make sure that the third person option, selfishly, is super tight when it comes out. Because I had it on the radar, like, okay, this looks cool. All right, I think I might dig it. A little fantasy, a little something, right? RPG, and I'm like, first person. I don't know about this. I'm like, I'll download it. I'll play it, and if it don't hit me right quick, I'm out. Right? I have other games I can play. They said third person. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This. I said she looks a whole lot better now. Wait a minute. Hold on.
You're looking at a
Before I
different pair of cheeks.
say, I'm like, before I couldn't see her walk down the street. You know what I mean? But now I can see. So I like what I'm looking at. I want to see it from head to toe. And so I'm glad that they're going to push it back. Hopefully they take the time to get the polish, to get the kinks out, get some of that jank out that we saw in some of the gameplay. Even some of the newer gameplay, there still was a little jank.
The least jankiest it was, but I
Yeah,
agree, there's still jank.
It looks a lot better, but hopefully they can get some of that jank out, and
as long as it runs at 60, that's all I care.
Hey,
60.
yeah.
Agreed.
Keiko,
I can't go under 60 anymore. But I do have a question for y'all, though, regarding Avowed.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so a lot of people, when they heard the news, rightfully so, there's just too many games. Stalker got delayed to November. It would make sense to put Avowed in 2025. But there was one comment I think I saw on Twitter that made me think for a second. What if they also delayed Avowed because Microsoft doesn't know when Dragon Age is coming? another
Mm.
upcoming Western RPG that's highly anticipated from BioWare.
Mm.
Like,
Um,
if Dragon Age is coming in November, or maybe they do know, and Dragon Age is coming in November,
you
do
want
they really
Stalker up
want to put
against that,
those
right?
two? Right, right.
Yeah.
Especially since Dragon Age is a marketing partner for Microsoft, it
Hmm.
wouldn't make sense to put those
Exactly.
two together.
Because somebody's going to get swallowed up.
But I'm also inclined to think that a big part of the reason why, like, we have Avowed being delayed over Indie is because Avowed has made the shift to UE5 from UE4. And so they've probably still got some smoothing out and polishing to do to make sure that they get the best um, performance and give us the best experience on UE5. And they're probably making sure that they get these support studios like Coalition to come in and help and with that transition. And just that extra time and that extra polish, it made the most sense to push Avowed based on them lifting and upgrading to the new UE5 engine from UE4. And so that was always going to be my pick. And but I do like the idea that it could be due to oh my god, I can't even remember the new name
Dragon
of
Age,
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age,
Veilguard, or something like that.
Veilguard, yeah,
Veilguard, yeah.
yeah. There you
Get
go.
rid
Because
of
I keep
the
thinking
in that
Dreadwolf.
title.
Yeah.
But I do like that idea that that could have been a big key factor in it, because there's so honestly this next 5 months of the year, we have so many games coming out. I'm glad I've got Game Pass because I can't afford to buy everything that's releasing.
Exactly.
It's just the reality of the
Mhm.
situation. But yeah, Feb's gonna be lit.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
excited.
boy.
You know, I didn't even think about that Dragon Age. That's a good point that you brought up there,
Agreed.
Assassin, because when I looked at Dragon, I mean, initially for me, when I saw Dragon Age, I was more on board with Dragon Age than I was with Avowed, to be perfectly honest, because that is right up my alley. I like the fact that you have this team, you're running around, you're flip flopping, going through the characters. And for me,
The
I
tactical
love,
side of it.
yeah, I love that, and then I love the art style. I love the art style, but see, I like different art styles.
Yeah.
I don't need all that hyper realistic stuff because guess what? In a couple of years, when things change, it's gonna look horrible too. You know,
Mm.
and so um, but I didn't even think about it, and that's really really good. And there's a lot of factors that we just don't know about, and as fans, we want to date. And since you gave us that date, that means you better stick with it. And my thing is, well, okay, that's fine. Give me a date. So maybe if I need to plan for it financially, then I can plan around it. But for
Yeah.
me, I'm not really big on dates, especially I'll just say this now that Game Pass is a thing and a bigger thing and it continues to grow. I don't care about dates. Now that's just me because it's going to drop in. And I know we all say, well, our backlog, but we do have backlogs. And with all these different games that are coming out, it's ridiculous. Like I said, I need to go back and finish the campaign for Dragon's Dogma. And I'm maybe a 2/3 made. I don't even know if I'm
Are you
two
on
thirds. And
PC
I've
or are you
done
on console for
I'm on
Dragon's Dogma?
I'm on console.
Okay,
I'm
feel
on
free to
console.
hire my pawn. He's
Oh well,
available.
drop it in. I'll look for you, and then out that way I can hire. And they say sometimes. I see. Let me stop. I was gonna say something that wasn't even right. Nope. 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 It was you. It
Panda's
was you.
influencing your
Nope.
soul.
I almost did it. I'm not gonna do
She's
it.
getting in your head. Don't give in.
Not gonna do it. But yeah. Um. I was just gonna say. Maybe I just have to pay for it. But So.
If we're
So
friends, you won't
yeah.
have to pay for it. So
Ah,
you get the friends and family discount. He's done.
oh my gosh. I like that one. I gotta use that one. That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
Uh,
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I mean, these backlogs are real, and mine definitely is real. And there's so many games that I need to go back and finish, and and start or restart because I'm so far removed from everything, and so it getting pushed, Avowed getting pushed back, or any game for me right now getting pushed back, or doesn't have a release date, I'm perfectly fine with it. Even the
Yeah.
ones that I'm excited for, if they said, hey, we have to move South of Midnight back 2 months, I'd be like, damn it, I was kind of ready to play that, or I was set around this time. But guess what? If it means it's going to be better, push it back, because we know they have so many games. Then they're going to have to switch things around and figure out, like you say with Dragon Age, should we put this here because it's going to be in direct competition with someone that we have the marketing rights to, or whatnot. They don't want to run into different things like that. So but that's a good place to be in. I think it's a good place to be in, where they have to make these hard choices because they have too much for it to keep us engaged. So I think we're good. I think we're in a good spot, whether we like the delay or not. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm in a good spot. So
I mean, I
yeah.
had no qualms about the delay. I was like, oh, well, it kind of makes sense that they're pushing it out. The rest of this year is just ridiculous. Where would I find the time to play this game? And this is going to be a game that you're going to sink hours upon hours into, um, if you want to get the full experience. And
Mm-hmm.
so give it a bit of breathing room. And yes, there are releases at the beginning of the year, but a lot of people take Christmas and other stuff and going on. Like, I won't be back from my Christmas leave until mid-January, and then I'm like back into the swing of work, and so this will be a nice break as I start work, and I get to play some of that. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to add, or because I am getting hangry, that's why the feed the panda icon is up on screen. Eating popcorn right now, but yeah, Assassin, would you like to add anything else before we do some outros and head on out?
Nothing really. It's just I just can't believe I'm trying to think of all the games coming in the next 4 months just for the rest of the year.
It's
I
hard.
I keep losing count after 15. I just keep losing count.
It is
I have
hard.
10 pre-orders, by the way, at GameStop for all the games coming. Everything from Astrobot to Metaphor to Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's just so many games.
Yeah,
Mm,
What a time to be
it's
alive.
yeah. I mean, especially when you love playing games, man. They're giving us just a smorgasbord of games, and so many
yeah, they
choices, so
are.
many good, and it seems to be so many good choices too.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off what you just said, real quick, Assassin, for the first time, I'm going to actually jump into Ubisoft Plus, because I'm going to do it for uh, Outlaws, and I'm going to do
Outlaws.
it for Assassin's Creed. I mean, because once you get in, you get all the perks, and I figure, if I run it for 2, maybe 3 months, that's what, close to $60, right? Something like
Yeah.
that.
So
So
pay
if
for
I
those
can,
2 games
yeah.
easy.
So if
Hmm.
I can dedicate, say, I still haven't, I've maybe paid for one game when you think of it like that. So it's like, why not jump into the service for those 2 games, get in, get out? I mean, I have all the DLC and everything that they have there, and maybe I jump back in later. Who knows? But that's what you just mentioned in those games, or mentioning something like that, just made me think about it. Just to jump in and go from there. So
I'm tempted to, but I
You're
don't
you're a
think you
big
can
Division fan,
share,
aren't
right?
you? So,
say what now, sir?
aren't you a big Division fan?
I am. I
I love
am.
Division
You
as
did,
well.
are you aware that Star Wars Outlaws is being made by the same team?
And
By
that is
Master?
one of the yes, and that is one of the reasons why
Yeah.
I'm so excited, because I love the
Yeah.
game, the gunplay, and the gunplay looks pretty good. The atmosphere of the game. When I think about those 2 Division games, they are artistically outstanding.
Yeah.
Like, the weather effects, the gunplay, the balancing, the sound, it's everything about that is really, really nice. And then when you talk to people who are from the DC area and New York area, and they see these different landmarks and they have everything accurate, man, it just, it adds into the game, man. So
Mm.
I'm so excited about this Star Wars game. And then it's not centered about the Jedi.
Jedi?
So I'm
That's what I loved
loving that
about the
too.
show Andor. It wasn't centered around the Jedi.
Yeah. So
Andor is my favorite show that they've done.
yeah, it was really, really well done, very well done,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we need more of. See, but that's the type of thing that we need for Gears and Halo, those two staples,
Mm-hmm.
not just in with TV and movies, but they need to do that with the games as well. Give us these spin-offs that will go a whole different direction within the universe with a character we don't know and make it come to life. And so that's what they're doing with this Outlaws game, and I'm here for it. So I'm
I'm here
so
for it
excited
as
about
well.
that one. Yeah, that's going to be
Just
Well,
exciting.
give us Halo ODST 2 and have Sergeant Johnson as the main character. Set it between Halo 2 and 3.
yes, done. That'll just print money. I just want to say a big shout out to both of you. Thank you so much, and our chat. We're going to do some outros, but thank you to everyone watching us live from around the globe. Appreciate you showing up every week. And Nero will be back next week if everything goes to plan. But yeah, I really just love doing the show, talking about video games, and hanging out with some amazing people who are part of our community and who love gaming as much as everyone who's here does. So very quickly, we're going to do some outros. Assassin, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. I refuse to call it X.
Thank you.
Elon Musk. Yes, yes. We are well aware. You can find me on Twitter at Assassin52, or you can find me on Twitch, also at Assassin52. I live stream, and I actually use those highlights, and I actually am beginning to make YouTube videos. Fun,
Mm.
sad bit of news though on that front. I was done with my most recent one, and then my laptop crashed.
Oh,
And guess who forgot to save?
Ooh.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
25
tough.
hours of work down the fucking
Oh
drain.
man, that's
So now
tough.
I
Oh,
gotta do it again. So
That's
yeah,
tough.
that was not fun. But
That's
I
tough.
am streaming on Twitch, and I will keep doing it, and I will keep making highlight videos on my YouTube channel at Assassin Entertainment. And actually, Soul, if you and I play Diablo 4 tomorrow, I actually might stream, and you might actually be in my next video if you're up to it.
Hey, no. Oh, you know what? I think I have the time. We got to make it happen, man. So let's make sure we
yeah.
definitely get our connection together here after we kind of get offline with everybody, and we'll make it work, man. That and not to just saying that I want to be in your stream, but that'll be pretty cool, man. Thanks for the
Yeah,
offer.
yeah,
How about that?
no
No
problem.
doubt, no doubt.
Where else can they find you where you don't appear on camera, Assassin?
Where I don't appear on camera? Huh. See, now that's a tricky bit. That requires a bit of doxing, and that's not exactly legal on the internet. So yeah, tough luck.
Oh, I
Funny
love it.
enough, Yodani Kazada, shout out to him. He's like 30 minutes away, and he has not threatened to come find me yet. So
Okay.
let's keep it that way.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sass, and really appreciated you jumping on the show this week. And Soul, tell everybody where they can find you. Obviously in Diablo 4. But yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Before I get into all of that, thank you so much for having me again. I have really enjoyed myself. I hope my energy levels were up today, because everything has been going well, but I hope everything was good. I hope everyone had a good time. I have had such a great time with everyone here today. Tried to be in the chat a little bit more.
Mm.
Sasson, man, my man, it's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit here through our chat, and hopefully we continue this offline or whatnot.
Mm.
You too, man. You should come
Just
on our podcast one time.
Well, hey, you know what? I'll make sure that my volume is all the way up. No stipend needed. No stipend needed. No Big Macs. But hey, if you want to send me if you want to send me something for Chipotle or something like that, I will take that. All right. Put
That's fair. All right, all right.
I'll give you my email. It's all good. But no, everybody, I am on Twitter with the same handle that you see in the chat. It's the exact same thing. If you are on Xbox, you can find me at, it's slightly different. I got Soul. It's UKNOI GOTSOUL. No W because, well, Microsoft only gives you so many characters, and yeah, that's what I got. So that's the best I could do. Well, and the thing is, like I explained some time ago, it used to be Soul Reaver 74. I am a huge Soul Reaver game a fan, and that's something we didn't talk about because those games are getting remasters 1 and 2. So I am
Yes.
so excited about that. And there is a new book that is getting a Kickstarter. So I am hyped up. I am amped about that. So then I transitioned to I got Soul. But everybody just calls me Soul. You can find me on Twitter with the same handle. But Xbox is I got Soul. Take out the W. Everything else remains the same. And I would love to friend you up and jump into some games, some Discord, some conversation, streams, or whatever it is that you guys have popping. I am typically available. So, but thanks again for having me. It has been a blast. It has
I've
been a
loved having you
blast.
both. Thank
Yeah,
you
yeah,
both.
yeah.
I've
Thank you.
been trying to keep my energy levels up. I'm still getting over my cold.
Yeah. You
And
did
muting
great.
myself every chance I get so you don't hear my horrible cough because I sound like I've been smoking for 30 years. That's what my cough sounds like.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's awful. And try not to laugh too much because that just triggers me. But it's been a great show. I just want to say another big thank you to the chat. Send some love to Assassin and Soul for jumping on the show this week. We will be back next week. I think Nero should be on next week with episode 20 of the Aim Down Sights podcast. And you can find me here weekly. You can find me on Twitter. I also prefer to call it Twitter, like X. Just gets confusing because we've all got Xboxes, and I'm just like, why did you have to go with that name? And you can find me on Xbox. I won't be on this evening. I'm going to my sister's place, so I won't be playing any video games tonight. But I will be playing video games next week, so you'll see me online. Again, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening. And I'm just going to play our lovely outro. Bye.